All right. That was Zandalar. Before I hand off to Ian, I want to take a minute to talk about character stories. In Legion, we did the character story for Illidan, and we really liked how that turned out across the patches. And which, by the way, it's not quite done yet. It'll get there pretty soon. So, for Battle for Azeroth, we want to do a lot more of that. We want to involve more characters. So we want to follow the lives of Anduin.
Os dejaré el link para que os lo descarguéis. No necesitéis, si no sabéis, encuentran acabado ya de estos. Transmisión de Twitch, 5% de las personas que vayáis a retransmitir. Muchas de las dudas, eso sí, se generan en el apartado de bitrate, tanto de vídeo como de audio. Pero antes de escribir un número, las personas que vayáis a retransmitir, exactamente las necesidades del 95% de las personas de misión. Aquí es donde acabar con este apartado. Continuando con la pestaña de salida, aquí es donde configuraremos la calidad de nuestra retransmisión. En este tutorial trabajaremos en el modo de salida sencillo, ya que va a cubrir perfectamente las necesidades del 95% de las personas que vayáis a retransmitir. Muchas de las dudas, eso sí, se generan en el apartado de bitrate, tanto de vídeo como de audio. Pero antes de escribir un número, hay que tener presente que en Twitch disponemos de dos tipos de cuenta. Por un lado, tenemos las cuentas normales, que seguramente sea la que tengáis todos aquellos que me estéis viendo. Y por otro lado tenemos los partners. La principal diferencia entre estos dos tipos de cuentas es que en la normal, Twitch no realiza ningún ajuste automático, por lo que la calidad en la que estás retransmitiendo automáticamente los recursos. La función que seleccionaremos para una cuenta normal será esa de Facebook con un bitrate de 60 será un tipo de audio cuando necesitamos. Para una cuenta partner, la resolución tenemos aproximadamente las resoluciones de todo grabando, podremos configurar las características del vídeo que se quedará almacenado en nuestro disco duro. En la ruta de grabación elegiremos dónde queremos que se almacenen los vídeos, junto al disco duro. Iremos MP4, calidad de grabación, cualquier carpeta del 121. Aquí abajo, en el apartado grabando,
play your way through those content as you prefer. Now at max level, the entire world will open up to you, effectively doubling the amount of outdoor space that you'll be actively engaged in when you are
programa de edición, como por ejemplo Premiere, de grabación, el aplicativo de audio segundo, lo pasando a atajos. Este apartado es bastante autoexplicativo. Aquí podremos definir distintos atajos de teclado para realizar determinados. Podéis especificar alguno. Crearé una fuente nueva pulsando en el icono del más y de la lista desplegable seleccionaremos capturar fuego. Los cambios para guardar y con esto ya tenemos la configuración básica hecha. Guarda vuestro equipo o añadir un retraso en la transmisión. Es establecer los atajos que necesitéis. Por el campo de avanzado, Por último, en el campo de avanzado no es necesario modificar nada, aunque podéis especificar algunos parámetros como el espacio de color, el nombre de formato de archivo que se guarda en vuestro equipo o añadir un retraso en la transmisión. Aplicaremos los cambios para guardar y con esto ya tenemos la configuración básica hecha. Ahora haré una retransmisión de prueba para comprobar que todo funciona. Para ello, crearé una fuente nueva pulsando en el icono del más y de la lista desplegable seleccionaremos capturar fuego. En crear uno nuevo, pondremos el nombre del juego, en mi caso,
So, as we've heard, the lines of battle here have been drawn. It's hard to remain neutral in Azeroth going forward. Alliance and Horde are looking for all the help they can get. And part of what that means is seeking out potential allies. Turning to
crearé una fuente nueva pulsando en el icono del más y de la lista desplegable
seleccionamos. And you, as a champion of the Alliance or champion of the Horde, are going to be one of those doing that. You will reach out to these allies, see what other problems they have, see if they will join the Alliance, see if they will join the Horde, playing some custom quest content that tells the story of how Philistra and the Nightborn come to join the Horde, or how Ilaria and the crack elite squad of elves that she has trained to harness the power of the Void come to make their home in the Alliance.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are going to pop out of that WoW panel. However, this is the new All Access channel.
The new.
If you would like to continue watching the World of Warcraft What's Next panel, you can find it under the Live tab in the watch box. just to the right of this window.
I think it's like right here. I'll down it like this. And if you guys want to get a first-hand look at what it's like to play the new WoW expansion, you can actually check out gameplay videos on BlizzCon.com/watch.
All right, Michelle. There's a lot of good stuff in that. We finally got to see the new Alliance Zone.
Yes.
We got to see the new Horde Zone.
Yes.
It looks like there's going to be 3 separate areas for you to progress, but they took the cue from, I can't remember what was the first expansion to do it. It might have been Legion, where you can choose the order in which you want to attack that plant, that
I
new
believe
area.
that was Mists that may have done that.
It might have been, but I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I was always a big proponent of leveling, being able to choose what zone you get to go to and have that scale level up. I also like the fact
en crear uno
that
nuevo,
that
pondremos el nombre del
different
juego,
areas,
en mi
different
caso,
continents.
Overwatch.
It kind of feels like an
Esta
old
ventana,
Kalimdor
dentro del
Eastern
apartado
Kingdom
modo,
sort of
seleccionaremos
feel.
capturar una
Honestly,
ventana
they
específica
really
y dentro de ventana
sort of
seleccionaremos del juego
Alliance side,
Overwatch. Que
Horde side, and in that same way,
con el
as it sounds,
streaming
what's going to happen is
no
your
dudéis en
level
decirme en la
your
casilla de
alliance has
comentarios.
your 3
Un
alliance
saludo y
zones
hasta
on your alliance continent, right? Microcontinent, I don't know what they're calling it. Anyway, but after you get to level 120, once you reach max level, quests open up on the other island, on the other continent. So you'll actually be able to, because I was thinking about that, where I was like, well, I know I'm going to level my alliance character. What up? That's what I'm saying, yeah. And then I was like, but there's going to be so much stuff, I'm going to have to go back, but now I'll be able to experience some of that stuff.
You can do all of it. Yeah, that's what's kind of cool. The other thing, last thing I want to know about that panel, and I can't wait to get more info, is Zul'jin in that urn?
Yes,
Can we
Zul'jin
talk
in the
about
urn?
the urn? What is going to happen with that urn? I am going to ask Ian when he comes to the desk a little bit later. But right now, we're going to take a look at what's been happening at the Legendary stage. Here's StarCraft 2. What's next?
Welcome to the StarCraft 2 What's Next panel.
Ladies and gentlemen, BlizzCon, how are you? Ah, yes, you're doing woo, as all crowds always are. Welcome to StarCraft 2 Beyond the Void, which is a very fancy way of saying StarCraft 2 What's Next. Here to talk about it are the absolute best human beings you will ever meet on the planet Earth. The members of the StarCraft 2 team. We have Christopher Reed, the lead UI designer who goes by Crash. Oh, yes. We have David Sum, the lead co-op designer. We have Michael Scipione, who is David Kim 2.0, the Versus designer. Yes. Now, if any of you have any issues with balance at all, please come to Michael all weekend long. You'll be thrilled to hear your thoughts on how to fix the units. We also have the lead writer, Valerie Watrous, joining us today. To Michael all weekend long. You'll be thrilled to hear your thoughts on how to fix the units. We also have the lead writer, Valerie Watrous, joining us today. To Michael all weekend long. Now, typically as a host, I do guide and moderate the panel. This lead writer have the easiest job in the world, as they have brought a full PowerPoint with visual aids and videos. So, Crash, please begin the panel. What is Beyond the Void?
Absolutely. But before I get started, I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone on the team who has spent hours of blood, sweat, and tears to make some of these wonderful things for all of you. It's great content, but I also want to thank the fans and all the feedback that you guys give. It's wonderful. It comes in. It really helps us make that new stuff, so please keep it coming. It's amazing. All right, so let's do it. StarCraft 2 is evolving. As you heard from Mike, that there's a lot of things coming, a lot of things changing. With the evolution of StarCraft 2, one of the things that we really wanted to accomplish was clarity. Right now, there's a lot of ways to join the game, to come into the game, to play the game, but not everyone understands. I'm sure many of you have seen a guide just like this. And hats off to the community for making a guide like this. That keeps us developers honest. We have to adhere to this. But our goal with this is to make sure that we lessen or even completely remove the need for this type of guide. We want players who are coming in for this free-to-play moment to just understand how to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I know even at the StarCraft 2 Summit, you were talking a lot about how many different vectors people have coming in. Even people like Artosis didn't even know what co-op was.
Right, Artosis.
Yeah, please let him know all weekend long.
What a noob. So with that in mind, one of the things we'll be changing, there's been, like I said, there's many ways to understand StarCraft. We have Legacy of the Void, we have the Covert Ops, but we'd like to make it understandable so that when you're talking about StarCraft 2, it's just StarCraft 2. So we're going to do that even with just the name. We'll be changing the name to strictly StarCraft 2, so when you're talking about it with your buddies, they understand.
This reminds me a lot of Hearthstone. No one refers to it necessarily by the expansions, just Hearthstone, and then there's different content among that.
Exactly. I think it just clarifies it really clear for everybody. More in that vein, we'll be changing multiplayer. I know this might be dramatic for some of you, but we're changing multiplayer to versus. And the reason for that is that as players are coming in, there's confusion around the difference between co-op and multiplayer. They do kind of mean the same thing. So we're going to be changing multiplayer to versus. That has a more visceral, and when you click on that button, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Right, right. Now, I want to ask about free-to-play, because that was the thing that had me really hyped. I only found about this during the rehearsal for this yesterday. Talk to me about the free-to-play switch.
Oh, so free-to-play. This is one of the most exciting things that we've been working on. And again, one of our goals, as I said before, was clarity. But with free-to-play, there was another goal that we had, which was, again, just giving you more stuff. So with the introduction of this, we kind of looked at what is a lot of free content already available. But we wanted to make sure that you understand what's free and how to get it, as well as just throw more at you. So let's kick it off with Campaign. In Campaign, just as Mike said, Wings of Liberty will be completely free. So if you've been waiting to try the game for any reason, dive in, you get the entire campaign. That's end-to-end, all the missions, all the achievements, all the rewards, and you get to meet Tychus, which is my favorite character in StarCraft. So I'm really excited about this.
You know, I wanted to ask about Ranked because Mike mentioned that during the opening ceremony, that all of Ranked is completely free, all the units from all the expansions. So while how we're offering it for free is that you have to earn your way into it. We're trying not to put a barrier that's too high or too hard for someone to climb to, but also has a deterrent for people who have bad behavior. So unranked and versus AI will be now completely free. As soon as you come in, you'll be able to play those immediately. And then the first 10 wins of the day will unlock ranked ladder for you. So of course, that might be too high or too low. We'll be listening for your feedback. If you think that's too low or too high, we'll definitely be making adjustments. And I want to bring this up because this came up at the StarCraft 2 Summit. It's obviously not just as easy as we just flip the switch to free and we're done. There's a lot of planning that comes into how do you organize all of this content. But the theme that keeps coming up is that things that used to be free are still free. Things that used to cost money, some of those are now free. In fact, it's not that it's being completely restructured. It's just that more of the game is accessible if you've never played before. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So instead of doing something where we're putting in a currency, and you had to earn currency to unlock things, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to just give more away for free. Just play the game and enjoy the game. And then
with that, how dare you try to do my transition for me? I told you, I need to at least demonstrate some value. With that, why don't we talk about co-op, David?
Well, I'm going to jump in first, before David, because I'm still here, sir.
Damn.
And the commanders will also be free up to level, I'm sorry. They will be free up to level 5. So if there's a commander that you've been dying to try, or you wanted to dive into, or have been reluctant with, now is your opportunity. And our goals with this wasn't to create a side mode where you could go in and try the commander in some sterile environment. We wanted it so that you could actually play with people, see what the commander's actually like, and I think that's a really cool way to do it.
Are Raynor and Kerrigan and Artanis still completely free commanders in this?
Yes, Raynor, Kerrigan, and Artanis are still 100% free. You can play them from the beginning all the way up to the end through Ascension, Mastery. Also, Swan, Vorazun, Zagara, and Karax will remain available for free.
David, talk to me about the new commander.
I will, Mr.
Hit me
Knight.
with it.
So, as Mike mentioned, we are getting a new commander. It's Han and Horner.
Like
together.
a duo, the first
duo,
combo.
like a pair.
Yeah.
Like they're married. So, Matt Horner, when we're thinking about him, as we're designing him, we're thinking about what is this his fantasy. So of course, you're thinking Sky Terran, Dominion units, super strong, high stats. But also, what do you think about? Some of our favorite moments were him and his interactions with Amir Han. Gave us an opportunity to do a combination of gameplay as well as getting some really cool dialogue. If you guys aren't familiar with Amir Han, he actually wins her hand in marriage by playing a poker game. He didn't know what he was playing for, but he won, so he was forced to marry her.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Sounds like my marriage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, controversy. Well, the thing is, it's always better to win someone's hand in marriage in a game of poker than with something like a game of Monopoly. Right?
At least, yeah.
Slowly getting ground down as you keep landing on Boardwalk and Park Place every single time. One there's a hand of poker, great.
Yeah. So he wins, he doesn't know. Now they're forced to get married. She's way more into it than he is. He's kind of trying to avoid it. It's hilarious. So the dialogue's awesome. So we kind of wanted to go with that theme. So this commander has a combination of mechanics and different play styles. So Horner, he's got his high stat units. He starts with the starport, and she attaches her mercenary tech lab to his starport. She gives him upgrades, and as you can see here, she gives her upgrades, so his units actually get like mercenary attachment.
It's very Mad Max style, it feels.
Yeah, so her units are like brutal and focus on damage really fast. And they even have death effects. You can see these Hellbats as they die. They explode in fire. They catch on fire. They hear and run around.
Yeah, no, you didn't mess up and lose your units. It was a tactical play, right?
Tactical play, yeah. So she can replace units super fast. Another new unit is the bomber platform. So this is another combo mashup. So she provides the bomber platform. He provides the strike fighters. You can build up to 10 of these. And use the top bar to call them down. You can target locations on the map.
Oh. Now, do they function like units that you can shoot down the bombers that fly by?
So they are vulnerable, so you don't want to go too far into enemy territory, but here you can see they do a lot of damage. The cooldown's pretty short, so it's a really powerful way to kind of start clearing some of the map.
Well, what happens if you lose some of the bombers during those raids? Do you have to rebuild the bombing platform?
They will rebuild automatically.
Oh, okay.
But there's a little bit of a longer cooldown, so.
Got it.
Still want to be careful with them, because they're Matt Horner's bombers. He's very precise. Next up, we have basically a pirate ship. This is the assault galleon that is a Mira Hans. It also functions as her production structure. So you can see here in this video that she's producing Reapers from it and has an attack. And it upgrades. You can add a hangar bay, and it launches assault drones.
So this is like a super carrier production building that can make units and also be like a mobile strike platform.
Yeah, pirate ships.
Yes!
Arr!
That is the best part about co-op, is you don't need to worry about balance against another person as much. You get to make things that make you go, yeah!
Yeah, we're just like, what is cool?
Well, I'm seeing on the next slide, I'm very excited for you to show the next piece.
Yeah. This is Call in the Fleet. It's one of the ultimate abilities. This is Matt Horner's. So he can target the map, and it'll send a fleet of battlecruisers and Vikings across the map, and it'll shoot down enemies. It's not AoE, it's not random, he's very precise.
Oh, I can see the precision right there, yeah.
He's an admiral of the Dominion fleet. So.
This is like the Rainer battleship on steroids.
Yeah, it's pretty good damage. And then Mirhan is the exact opposite. So she's not precise. She's crazy, reckless, chaotic. So hers is space station reallocation, where you can target and she teleports her space station into the enemies. Doing telefrag damage.
This is the Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah, so basically, anything it touches, it just instantly explodes, one-shots them.
And if it wasn't enough damage, I see that there's a post-teleportation explosion.
Yeah, so it'll release drones, and then after that, it'll nuke. So there's even more damage. We like to blow things up.
Beautiful. Now, we heard a little bit about the part and parcel mission being included. Talk to me about that nuke.
Yeah, so this is the community contest winner. We had a contest where the community members got to build maps. So special shout out to the winner, Buzz Wally. I hope I said his name right. Is he here?
Yes!
Hey, everybody give him a round of applause.
Thanks to that man.
You, sir. Right there. So if you guys didn't get a chance to play it, it was this really awesome map where there was this mechanic where you collected parts, you built up a busted Archangel, it repaired itself, and they would march across the map and attack these, like these little boss fights with the Death Shards. So we really wanted to stay true to the original version of the map.
Yeah, yeah.
So some of the stuff we did, we tweaked a little bit of the mechanics, the timing. Travis here and his art team provided a full art pass. We got art support for new bosses, new effects, the terrain itself, the map has got this awesome art pass.
All right.
Lots of good stuff still going on at the StarCraft 2 panel.
Yeah.
They really showed a lot of stuff. I mean, the fact that StarCraft 2 is free to play.
I know. And they're actually making it easier as well for new people who
Yeah.
want to learn how to play. I mean, I thought it was fascinating that, like, did they say it was Artosis or Tasteless was not aware of one of the
Yeah.
modes?
Yeah.
He just wasn't aware.
Yeah,
I love
co-op
the fact
mode,
that they
yeah.
showed, like, a random website and we're like, we're going to make sure websites like this don't exist anymore.
Yeah, and the
That's
website
cool.
the website was just like, here's how you play StarCraft.
Yeah.
Download StarCraft's free starter edition, play it. If you want to play more. Because I guess,
Yeah.
so now they're giving you Wings of Liberty,
Yep.
up to Wings of Liberty.
Yep.
There's still content that you can get
Yeah.
after Wings of Liberty, all the expansions and all that stuff. My favorite thing that they hit on, which I think is just so great, because co-op was such a surprise to them.
Yes.
And they said this, I mean, it might have been even 2 years ago, where they were like, wow, we didn't realize that co-op was going to be such a huge
Last year,
fan favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they did a community contest and content contest, and somebody came up with a cool co-op map, and they've now added it to the entire game.
Part and parcel, it's called. It's super cool. Like, just the fact that they use stuff in the community and
It's
put it
amazing.
into the game. I just love that.
It's amazing. All right, well, let's take a quick shot overhead. There's a beautiful shot of the Anaheim
Hey.
Convention Center as seen from above, courtesy
There
of
she
our
is.
good friends in the Goodyear blimp. And they are now circling the skies above BlizzCon. I love that the Goodyear blimp is circling the skies
I
above
know,
BlizzCon.
I know. And it's actually a brand new blimp. I don't know if you guys know, but Blizz Blimp is not the actual name. It's called...
not official? That's not
No,
official.
it's not the official
Huh.
name. The official name is Wingfoot 2. And BlizzCon is one of the very first events that it's covering. And like Malik said, the very first esports event that it's covering. Kind of got our own Orgrimmar Interceptor, though, I think. I'm just saying.
We didn't even talk about how amazing the mounts were that we got.
I know.
There's too much
There
stuff.
was so much. It was
Love
really good
the Blizz
stuff.
blimp,
Yeah.
or its official name.
That's Wingfoot 2.
Yeah, Wingfoot 2.
Wingfoot 2.
All right, guys. World of Warcraft game director Ian Hassakostas will be joining us in just a little bit, so tweet us our questions. Any of the questions that, I don't know, maybe you have some questions about all the crazy stuff they've been telling us. Send them to us at #BlizzCon.
That's right. Time to check in now with Rachel. She's going to be standing by with a preview of this year's charity auction.
Hey guys, thanks and welcome back to the BlizzCon floor. I want to show you the BlizzCon charity auction next. This is a very special place on the BlizzCon floor because it's where the artists of Blizzard get to really connect and give back to the community. So what they've brought is some really unique pieces of art. We're going to be giving it away on auction. It's ebay.com/BlizzardCharity. If you're at home or you're here at the event, you can head right there and bid, and all the money goes to Chalk Children's. So first up, we have this incredible plushie made by Q Lee. It's a Ragnaros plushie, and she's done an incredible job on the stitching on the hammer, as well as these great 3D features on the face. He's such a unique little guy, and I'm so excited to see him here. Definitely a favorite of mine, but there's lots and lots to show you. We also have these StarCraft remastered LPs. They're printed in blue, and they only made about 3,000 of them. So it's a pretty cool opportunity to own a little bit of StarCraft history. We've also got some fancy stuff for your walls. So if you're looking to hang something up, well, you might remember the Reapening from the 2016 Overwatch Halloween event. It's a very nice poster they've got here. We've also got some stills from the animation. This is Sombra's intro animation called Upgrades. And this is the last Bastion animation still, where Bastion meets Ganymede, a very important moment if you're an Overwatch fan. We've also got some really nice art here all over featuring all the Blizzard heroes, and it is signed by the Blizzard development team. Comes framed, of course. You can hang it right on your wall. But if you want to take it way back, these are some of the original animation stills and the pencil on paper work that went into the character development for Doomfist. And you can also see Doomfist intro animation 2D sketches. We've got Tracer and Doomfist on here, and there's incredible detail. It's really, really special. And it's signed by the artists Cloud Yang and Clover Z. If you want something a little more fancy, maybe something more recognizable, we've got the BlizzCon key art from last year. This is the 10th anniversary art featuring heroes from all the different games, pins as well, and this is a mold of the Reinhardt pin to make sure that you got something special and unique as part of this artwork as well. If Reinhardt's not your style, we've also got the same print over here with the same pins, but featuring the Elite Tauren Chieftain mold. Pretty cool opportunity. But if that's not unique enough, well, we've got one of the most unique items here up for auction. This is a Vol'jin bust. complete with a one-of-a-kind, it's an amazing sculpture. I love that you can take out the tusks. The detail is so perfect. And this was one of the originals they used to cast the mold that you can sell, that you can buy online on the Blizzard Gear Store. But this is the original one-of-a-kind sculpture by Aaron Bernard. And if you want to get your hands on this piece, on any of these pieces, you can go to ebay.com/BlizzardCharity. All the money, of course, goes to Chalk Children's. So I want to give a big thank you to all the Blizzard artists who contributed art to the charity auction and who made beautiful worlds for us to live in. So thank you guys. Back to y'all on the desk.
Rachel, thank you so much. I always love hearing about the charity auction. All proceeds go to Children's Hospital of Orange County. A lot of stuff I'd like to bid on, actually. Some of that Overwatch art.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, when they showed the poster with all the pins from last year, the 10th anniversary, they didn't have a Reaper mold, because I was like, if there's a Reaper mold, that's going to go through the roof, because I'm just going to tell Malik I'm going to buy it out from under him. And he'll spend all the money getting that Reaper mold.
He's going to have to get some Bitcoin to get it back.
Yeah. Everybody buy Bitcoin.
All right, go. Don't forget, if you guys would like to participate in this silent auction, head on over to ebay.com/BlizzardCharity for more information. It goes to a great cause, and it means a lot to the people here at Blizzard.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, all you Heroes of the Storm fans, it's your turn for a little love. Here's a taste of the Heroes of the Storm Community Gauntlet panel, which took place on the Epic stage just a short time ago.
That was a dominating round by Chew 8.
A fantastic round.
That was really good.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out all the time.
Yeah. Hey, I care. Either side, doesn't matter.
All right, do our players understand the rules? All right, are our buzzers ready?
Ready.
Yes. Okay. Your first question is...
Who is Hanzo's mentor in the Nexus? I got it that time! It was me!
Alistraza.
That is
Alistraza.
correct.
Okay.
All right, that's new information. I love it.
That was the softball one. Here comes a hardball. On which two maps does Harrison Jones appear? I heard Kim.
I heard Kim too.
It's on Tombo Wombo and it's on Sky Temple.
What was that first one?
Wombo Tombo. It's Tomb of Spider Bomb. What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Tomb of the Spider Queen?
Tomb of Spider Queen.
That's what he was going for. There it is. That is correct.
Tomb of the Spider Queen and Sky Temple. Another 2 points to the player killers, Heroes.
Wait, 1 point. What?
Wait, from this round.
Oh, I gotcha.
Wait, it was 1 point.
It was 1 point.
Ignore me.
Again, math.
Right.
What action does Varian take when you select his taunt heroic? There he goes, Pally.
Pally.
The taunt.
Shield Slam.
What action does he take?
What does he do?
When you select the taunt.
When you select the taunt.
We're going to give you...
We're going to give somebody else a chance to steal, I think.
You will never know unless...
He's going for it.
Here we go.
He's raising his shield to forge the alliance.
That is exactly correct. He raises his shield.
To the sky.
2 points to the player killers, 1 point to Pally's Generals of Hell.
And that's it for the second round. Thank you so much to all of our players.
Players, head on over this way.
Here we get our third round of players up on stage. All right, are our players ready?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sir.
All right, are our buzzers ready?
Ready.
Yes.
Your first question is...
Which heroes could not be purchased on their release?
Me!
I heard leaving in the resets. Cho'Gall.
That is correct. Leaving in the resets with 1 point.
The next question is...
Which hero skin was developed to battle the Kaijo Diablo?
Audience, don't be shy.
You can
if you
shout
want to
it out
help
if
him
you know
out,
the
help him
answers.
out.
Mechatassadar.
I
heard it right here. Mechatassadar is
correct.
the correct answer.
1 point to the #1 player killers. And for the final question of this round, it's going to get tough. Which hero is a failed member of the Silver Hand? Oh, there it is right away.
Arthas is what we were looking
correct.
for. Excellent job. 1 point to each of our teams in that round. Amazing
Fantastic.
job.
Thank you so much to all of our audience contestants.
Great job.
Right this way.
All right, now so what do you guess? Our team leaders. It's time for you to answer your own set of questions. They're getting tougher.
We're going head to head. Your first question
We
is...
still need those buzzer noises. We still need those buzzer noises.
Okay.
Right.
Your first question is, which hero designed the Queen of Blades?
Kim? Okay, Chewie.
Wait, I don't get the question.
Which, which hero designed the Queen of Blades? Chance to steal it.
Chance to steal it right here.
2, 1.
Me.
Okay.
Leaving in the resets. Nicole.
Abathur is the correct answer. Okay. Who is the first daughter of Cenarius?
Whoa, that was a lot of air.
Pally yelled the whole time. It's not, that question's out of the game.
No! 1 point to each of our teams.
Yeah, 1 point to each team for that question. Well done, Lana. Nailed it. Third question, final question of the round. Who bears the title Darkness Incarnate?
This is the third and final question.
Aye!
There's the Nazebo. I love it. What is it?
Ghoulish Daniel?
It is Gul'dan Daniel. It's
Correct
Gul'dan.
answer. Thank you so much to all of our contestants in this round. I think it's time for a quick stats break.
What a crazy, crazy round. Who even wrote those questions? They were so good.
We wrote them.
Oh.
Over weeks of work. Great job, Cody.
Thanks. That's what I wanted.
All right, doing a quick stats break here. Let's take a look at the standings.
Oh, okay.
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 Changing it up a little. All right, in third place, the Generals of Hell with MF Palatine with 4 points.
Pally, how are you feeling about this? You got a steep hill to climb.
I feel like she was only 3 times ahead of me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, easy comeback.
Beautiful. Nicole, second place, 8 points for Leeming and the resets.
I'm feeling really good.
Good.
No, I want it to be a comeback. He won't see it coming.
Oh, okay. Good.
Love it. Love the confidence. Love the confidence. And in first place, the #1 player killer heroes with Chew8 with 12 points.
Let's hear it for Chew8 and the player killers. Now, let's not get too attached to these standings, though, because in our next game, Heroes Punch Out, anything, and I mean anything, can happen.
That's right. This next game is a knockout.
Oh,
Here.
man.
Oh, that was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. Worked hard on this.
All right, let's get Team 1 back up on stage with us. Let's get the Generals of Hell back up on stage with
Generals
us,
up
actually.
on stage with us, please. Thank you so much, Nicole and Chew8. A replica of our Hero Select screen. Each team is going to be given a theme, and it is up to them to punch out, as Cody will so demonstrate.
Oh, yeah, my turn. Best person on the show, Cody.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Punch out as many heroes that fit that theme in the time allotted.
So, in Punch Out, a correct answer is 1 point. If you get a wrong answer in the category, we're going to take away 2 points from you. But if you get all of the questions at the same time, all of the answers, we're going to give you a bonus of 3 points.
All right, does everybody understand the rules? Let's do maybe a quick sample question.
Is it an example time?
It's example
I'm ready
time.
For it. I'm
All
ready
right.
for it.
When I say punch out all.
Sylvanas, bam! That's 4 points for me.
All right, I was going to say punch out all the Uthers, so there's negative 2
You were
points.
not going to say all the Uthers. I wrote the question.
All the Uthers, negative 2 points for Cody.
Great, thanks
Fantastic
a lot, Lana.
work.
Thanks a lot.
Does our team understand the rules?
Yeah.
It's all right. Can we get you all standing lined up in front of the board, facing away from the board? When we say punch out, you'll have 20 seconds on the clock. And not before we say punch out.
So if you go before we say punch out, if you turn around too early, I'm going to make a weird noise. I'm going to shout at the audience. You're doing it now. Don't. Yeet! Random does not count for any points. We just wanted it there for veracity's sake.
It looks just like the Heroes Select screen. It's important.
It's already gone from the board. Thanks,
Great.
Score Goblin.
So,
if you go before we say punch out, I'm going to yell. I'm going to jump around like an idiot. I'll make you maybe do it with me. So wait until we count down. 3, 2, 1, punch out.
and when we do that, 20 seconds on the clock, we're going to have you punch out all of the StarCraft heroes.
In 3, 2, 1,
punch out!
Oh, you gotta go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Away from the board. Away from the board. Score Goblin, start counting up points for us. Start counting up points for us.
I'm gonna play that. That looks awesome.
That looks so much fun. I have to say, because we have our ears in
We can
here,
hear, yeah.
I was just sitting here and they asked the question of what was the first character that was released that you couldn't buy, and I went Cho'Gall, and somebody walking by was like, what just happened? And I was like, oh, all
He
right,
just
you
has
didn't hear.
Tourette's where he just
You didn't hear
yells
the-
random Warcraft.
You didn't hear the
Yeah,
question
yeah,
of the
yeah.
heroes panel. Okay, sorry.
I like
My
how they
bad.
were just like, punch out all of the StarCraft heroes.
And the whole time I was like, Avatar Nova, come on, let's do it. What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah, and we can see it down here too, so we've been watching it. But right now, guys, we got to send it over to the MLG checkpoint where our good friend Benbow is standing by with an esports update.
Hello everyone tuning in live from the BlizzCon Virtual Ticket. This is your all-access esports update brought to you by MLG. I'm of course Benson, your host for the MLG Checkpoint Live Show. All weekend long, we'll be here updating you with everything you need to know about the fantastic esports matches happening here at BlizzCon 2017. MLG Checkpoint is the best of BlizzCon esports. Live-looking coverage of the most exciting moments from the 2017 Overwatch World Cup Finals, StarCraft 2 WCS Global Finals, Heroes of the Storm Global Championship Finals, World of Warcraft Arena World Championship, and of course, the Hearthstone Invitational. 5 epic esports competitions, one place to watch it all right here at MLG Checkpoint. That's it for me for right now, but we'll be checking in later today to update you on everything BlizzCon esports. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Ben. We have so much to talk about, but there's stuff going on right now. It is time to join the Blizzard BattleNet team on the legendary stage for the Blizzard Social What's Next panel. Take it away.
Hey, BlizzCon. How's it going? It's great to be here. My name's Andy Simons. I work on the BattleNet team. Thanks for spending an hour with us. We're excited to spend an hour with you. We've just released a whole bucket load of software just before BlizzCon. We're really excited to talk to you about that, kind of our motivations behind that, and you know, really tell you a little bit about our story. But if you'll indulge me for just a few minutes, since this is the first time that BattleNet has had a full 1-hour session at BlizzCon, we thought it'd be kind of cool just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, kind of what gets us up in the morning, why we come to work. BattleNet started back in 1996 with the release of Diablo 1. A small set of people got together and said, wouldn't it be cool if you could play over the internet with your friends? And that was the start of BattleNet. The other thing that team did was create a really cool logo, which all teams need to do. I love this logo. I love the 90s. The 90s are awesome. I'm gonna bring that logo back somehow. I'm not sure. We're gonna find a way to bring it back. Yeah, t-shirt, I like that. But that was the start. We've come a long way since then. Today, millions of people play Blizzard games all over the world every single day on the BattleNet platform. It's really an impressive thing. This is something we call BattleNet Earth. It's an app that is running on monitors in our office all the time. It shows real-time stats about who's playing our games. And I grabbed this little video snippet sometime earlier this week. So if you were playing this week, maybe one of these little dots is you. I don't know, could be. But it's really an impressive online service. We have major state-of-the-art data centers all over the world. We distribute 4.3 petabytes of data every day in the form of new game downloads, game updates and content updates, and we transmit 35 million messages between players every single day. And I love that Mercy is guarding our data centers. I think that's a super cool touch our IT group does. I like that. That's neat. So that's the online service part of Battle.net. You may also know Battle.net by this, the Blizzard Battle.net app. Your home for the world of Blizzard. It's where you find out what's going on across the company. It's where you buy games. It's where you install games, and it's where you play. It's really the central hub of Battle.net. We've been giving a lot of love and care to this app for a long time. The other thing that you do in this app is social. Connect with friends. Blizzard games are best played together. Social is a huge part of that experience. And Battle.net has been at the core of that from the beginning. And despite that long history in social, we still see players saying this: I would play more, but I don't have friends to play with. And it's really true. It's true for me. If you don't have someone to play with that plays the games you like in the way you like to play, at the time you like to play, it's not as fun. And this is a rallying cry for the team. We really think about our mission of connecting players as the core thing we love to do. In this last year, we've been spending a particular hard amount of time working on this mission. And it started back in February, where we released a little feature called Suggested Friends. Nothing earth-shattering about this. Just a little set of suggested friends. Either you linked your account with Facebook or they're friends of friends. But worldwide, all of you actually doubled the number of friends that you made over the last year. And I think that's really cool. New relationships, new people to play with. That's great. But we know there's more. And you've been telling us this. You've been posting in our forums, you've been on social media, we've been listening, and we've been watching. And we know there's more to social. And this work we've been doing over the last year has really been about listening to you and building the capabilities that you've been asking for. So I don't want to wait any longer. I've got a couple of members of the Battle.net team here. They're going to come up and kind of show you what we've built. So let's get going. I'd like to introduce Itai Ashet to the stage. Clicker.
Thank you, Andy. Hello, everybody. My name's Itai, and I'm the lead program manager for the Battle.net desktop app. I'm super excited to be here to present some of our team's work, and even more excited to be presenting here at BlizzCon. As Andy said, we've put a lot of thought into creating new features that help you make more friends. But not just new friends, friends you actually want to play with. And with that in mind, I have a question for you. Who here has received a random friend request? See a lot of hands. Yep, same here. I got one of these just the other day after playing a couple of hours of Overwatch and had no idea who it's from. Did not recognize the Battle.net tag, and this really did not tell me anything. Wouldn't it be great if there was a way to learn a little bit more about a player before deciding to accept my friend request? Well, now there is. I'm here to introduce Blizzard Profiles, a feature that helps you discover more about other Blizzard players. So let's go back to this friend request and see if we can learn more about this player. This is the Blizzard profile. Wow, it looks good on the screen. Right away at the top, you can see that this is an Overwatch fan by the banner. The next section is an about that lets you tell the world who you're all about. In this case, I can see it's an up-and-coming Overwatch streamer who's looking for a team. Now that I think about it, I do remember playing with a streamer. She was pretty funny, and we won quite a few matches. If it's her, I'll definitely add her. The next section shows what games they play. In this case, she plays Overwatch, World of Warcraft, and Hearthstone. Big Blizzard fan. Love that. Down below, the link section is one more way for you to tell the world who you're all about. You can link your Facebook profile, your Twitch stream, or even your guild website. And don't worry, before clicking, you can hover over and you'll see what the website is. And if you see an official logo, you'll know that's the site you'll go to. So after checking out her stream, I can confirm it's the streamer. I'm more than happy to have her as a friend. Were it not for the Blizzard profile, I would have likely declined this friend request. But now, I'm excited to add her, and next time I'm looking for somebody to play, I'm more likely to look for her and see if she's online. So that was somebody else's profile. Now let's take a look at our own. You can see that it looks pretty much identical with two big changes. First, there's a little pencil icon next to each section, allowing me to personalize and fill the information I'd like. Second, you will see that there's a privacy section down below. Now, we want you to understand that privacy is very important for us, and we think about it long and hard before we put a feature in the market and monitor it and listen once it's out there. As you can see, my profile is set to public, meaning that all Blizzard players can see my profile. But my links are only visible to my friends. One last thing. You see this little icon up there? Back at the office, we call him the Battle Bro. And we're sure you've loved to have him as your icon for your friends all these years. So we thought it was time for another upgrade and to give you one more way to express yourself by picking your own avatar. As you can see, we have artwork from all the Blizzard games, allowing you to pick what best represents you. I'm going to continue to add more avatars over time. So that's profiles. We really want to hear what you think, and with that in mind, I have a quest for you. If you haven't already done so, next time you log on, take the time to personalize your profile, pick an avatar, and let other Blizzard players know who you are. That's all I have for you, and now I'd like to introduce Mike, who's going to show you some more of our social features.
BlizzCon, what's up? My name is Mike Yocklin. I'm a design lead on social for Battle.net, and it's an incredible honor to be here today representing the team and all the work that everyone's been doing, and it means a lot to all of us that so many people are interested in the work we're doing. We didn't know what to expect, this being the first time Battle.net's had a panel, so it's quite an honor for us. All right, so I'm going to pick up where Itai left off. Finding the right people to make friends is important, but once you have those friends, we also want to make sure it's really easy for you to stay connected to them. And again, that idea of connecting people, it's such a fundamental part of what Battle.net has always been about. Everyone on the team is super passionate about it. We know you guys are as well. And that's why I'm here today to talk about Blizzard Groups. So Blizzard Groups, they've been out for a few weeks now, but in case you're not quite sure what they are or you haven't had an opportunity to use them, they're a lot like guilds in WoW or clans in StarCraft and Diablo, except they're not tied to any specific game. They live outside and across all of them, making it easy for you to stay connected regardless of what you and your friends want to play. Internally, we've been talking about the need for a cross-game group for quite a while. We realized there was really unfortunate when you lose a part of your community, when either you or a friend of yours decides to play a different game. Blizzard Groups are going to fix that. Blizzard Groups are going to be the social bond that helps connect you across games. It's been a really long journey for us to get here, and we're really excited to be here to talk about it. So let's jump in. I want to start by showing you how easy it is to set up a group for you and your friends. So we're here on the Create a Group dialog, and I'll make a group today for some close friends of mine. We've been getting together and playing every Thursday night for a really long time, so for lack of a better name, I'll call this group Thursday Nighters. Now, a name is all I need to set this group up, but I'm going to go ahead and pick an icon just because it's fun. And you can see, just like player avatars, we have a ton of artwork from all of our games to choose from, and we're planning just to continue adding more and more as we go. For today, though, I'm going to pick the taco because that's one of my favorites. Because it's a bunch of my friends, I'll skip description for now. we'll hit create, and that's it, we have our group. Super easy to do. The only thing I need to do now is get the friends in it that I want, and we've made it really easy to pull directly from your friends list. So I'll grab the people that I want in this group, hit send, and as soon as they accept, we're all in the group together. So now we have our group. Let's talk a little bit about what you get with one. On the top side, you can see I have the name of the group, I have a little bit of information about who's online, and then I have the message of the day section. Now I haven't added one yet, but this just gives me a really easy way to send an announcement or an update out to the entire group. Beneath that, we have channels. And channels are a big part of how you customize this space and make it unique for you. Since I just had a couple friends in here, I've only created a couple of channels, but you have flexibility here to do whatever you want. Now, inside of channels, we have text and voice chat. And text chat for us is something in Battle.net that we know we've kind of lagged behind in terms of features. But we want text chat to feel fun. We want it to feel like any other chat app out there that you've gotten used to. You can see we've started to do a little bit of work bringing some of the fun in. We have emoji support. Links are finally clickable. And the thing that I'm most excited about is we now have chat history. So you'll no longer miss messages when you're offline. When you come back online, you can pick right back up with a conversation, see what everyone's talking about, and most importantly, see what your friends are saying about you. Now, in addition to text chat, we also have voice chat. And we learned a lot about how to not do voice chat based on some of our past implementations. You may or may not remember them. This time, I think we nailed it. I might be a little biased, but I think we have one of the easiest to use, best sounding voice chats out there. And with groups, the amazing thing is that once you've created your group and your channels, it's there for you every night. No longer have to recreate and re-invite every time you want to chat with your friends. So that's really convenient, really useful for your friends. But Blizzard groups are actually for more than just your friends. They're also a really good way to help you find more people to play with. So for example, I play a lot more than my friends do, more than just Thursday nights. In fact, I'm online almost every night, looking for people to play with, looking for something to do. And lately, I've been trying to rank up in Hero League. And I want a group to queue up and do that. So that's where Blizzard groups come in. Let's take a look at the group I joined to help me find that. So you can see right away from the name, this group is super focused on ranked heroes. And with about 80 people online, I should be able to find someone to play with.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Such an amazing day. Of course, the Murloc Pajama Men are back in force. I don't know why I don't have a Murloc Pajama Man suit.
Well, they just came out, so you can get one.
I gotta get one. If only I could find somebody to talk to about it.
Well, guys, don't forget, if you'd like to continue watching the Blizzard social panel, you can find it under the Live tab in the watch box, just to the right of this window.
Of course, though, now, the man of the hour joining us now is World of Warcraft game director Ian Hazakostas. Ian, a little bit of stuff to talk about.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. It's one of those years. You know, it's been 4 years since we've announced an expansion here.
Really?
Wait,
4 years?
The last time we announced an expansion at BlizzCon was Warlords of Draenor in 2013. It's been 4 years since that's happened.
Wow. That is nuts.
Legion was at Gamescom.
You're right, because I was live tweeting it at home, and holy cow.
That is
Congratulations.
fantastic.
Wow, I didn't
Well,
think
look,
about that.
we talked a little bit with Mike about this, which was you announced a classic server version, which I know there's going to be more news about later, and that's all great. Which, by the way, everybody went crazy with, including me. But also, back to the Horde versus the Alliance. So it feels like it's a real move this year back to the core that was the original World of Warcraft, even in the conflicts that are happening. How was that decision made?
I think in a lot of ways, I think Alex anchored it perfectly. It's Red versus Blue Horde Alliance.
Yeah.
That is the beating heart of the Warcraft franchise and has been since the start. And even when we've temporarily put those differences into the background to fight against a greater foe, we've always acted on behalf of our faction, and we view the world through a certain lens.
Yeah.
And so I think, to some extent, it was also what was a good successor to Legion.
Yeah.
And we have expansions that fit into different patterns, different molds. There's the supervillain expansion of, all right, big bad's going to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've had a couple of those.
Sure.
And it's hard to get much bigger and badder than Sargeras and the Burning Legion.
Right.
Yeah.
A little hard.
Yeah, and so it felt like in a lot of ways the right time to bring these simmering tensions to the foreground.
Yeah.
And this is something we've known for a while. We were heading this direction. Some of those seeds were planted way back at the Broken Shore. You saw, Alliance and Horde walked in, effectively holding hands for a little bit. You saw Sylvanas bail out Varian, trying to fight the Legion. Didn't work out so well, did it?
Last so long with the hand-holding of the Horde and the Alliance.
I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that are going on in this expansion, and one of the things I really want to talk about is the thing that's been data mined a lot, which is the allied races.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about how that works. I know you guys went into it in the panel, but what was the inspiration behind wanting to do allied races?
So this is something, it's a feature fans have requested for a long time, often called sub-races, something along those lines. We've always wanted to expand the number of playable races in WoW, and this theme of searching out new allies made it feel like the perfect time to make it happen. And so we're super excited to bring 6 new ones into the Alliance of the Horde to start with. But as we mentioned in the panel, this system really is a foundation for new ones to come. It's not, something that comes automatically with an expansion, but the big difference is that you have to earn these. You have to play through the story of bringing them into the Alliance or the Horde, and then you get to make one of your own.
Finally, my paying through the story will pay off.
with
exactly.
with new races.
I love it. And also, you guys got some new content ideas that are coming in with the islands and the warfront.
Yeah, that's really
so let's
cool.
talk a little bit about that, because it's always good to give people options just outside of story quests and raids, dungeons. So tell us a little bit about islands and about warfronts.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have, those mainstays of dungeon raid that are ever present. I think in both of these cases, we're looking for ways to tell the story of war in a way that's not just PvP. PvP is there, but it's small-scale skirmish, this vibe of exploration, setting sail, scouting out uncharted territories for any advantage you can gain in the war. And we're revisiting 3-player role-agnostic gameplay. You can grab just a couple of friends, or if you're looking to queue up, because it doesn't matter whether you have, a tank or no tank or 3 DPS, queues will be quick. And as I mentioned in the panel, we really want to build upon so many of the lessons that we've learned making this type of content over the years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really enjoyed content like this in the past that you guys have done very similar, but this seems like it's just an evolution of what you've done, and it seems like it's better.
Replayability, dynamic content, that's the name of the game here. Really capturing that vibe of exploration, so you never quite know what you're going to find when you go there. And then back on the warfront side, this is just large-scale war. It's, you joining a raid group, basically, but you're not fighting a boss, you're fighting an army.
And this is like Warcraft 3 hero-inspired, where you get like 20 of your friends, and you build it like an RTS, except for it's
you're in there,
that's amazing.
As a champion, pushing forward.
I want to play that.
Yep, building a barracks, upgrading your troops, leading your troops into battle as you inspire them, and fighting an army. You are fighting an army of the opposite faction.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, because Alex and I were discussing it a little bit earlier, was about the factions, about the dungeons. I'm sorry, about the factional dungeons. Because we said that there were 10 dungeons, and there are 4 Horde and 4 Alliance. And as I started to think about it last night, I was like, have we ever really had factional dungeons? I mean, we've had Nomeron, we've had Burning Chasm, we've had Stockades, but you had to do like corpse runs, and there were schlep to get to, even if it was like you couldn't get into it, or dead mines or whatever. So what was it like? Can I get in, if I'm Horde, can I get into there, or before 120, or like the way you could?
You likely technically could, but it would be kind of like trying to get to dead mines.
Same.
As a level 17 Horde player back in the day. Not really advisable. I mean, I think really it's anchored in the story we're trying to tell. The story begins with Alliance and Horde each searching out new allies, but as they do so, they learn about a lot of woes that are facing the world as a whole, and some deeper problems as well. And we've anchored dungeons into the storylines of our zones. The same way as you saw in Legion, you would play through High Mountain and then go into Neltharion's lair to recover the hammer.
Yep.
Similarly, because the zones are faction heavy, it made sense for the dungeons and the level up experience to be that as well.
Yeah.
But of course, at max level, all the content is there for everybody. There's plenty. Yeah.
And that'll help the world PvP, I would assume, at that point.
Oh, yeah. So we have an actual Twitter question, which
Cool.
is from Disney Girl, which is, can she acquire your autograph while she's here? Are you going to be doing any signings?
I'm not going to be at the signing table, unfortunately.
But you can be stopped anytime, anywhere.
Odds are good. So BlizzCon, it's a whirlwind. I'll be doing a lot of press throughout the day. Evenings, around the convention center, hotel lobbies. I just can't wait to meet as many fans as possible. That's the magic of BlizzCon.
That's why we're here.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Ian Hatzikostas.
My
Good
pleasure.
luck with the expansion.
Yes, congratulations.
We are looking
Thank you so
forward
much.
to all of it. StarCraft 2 production director Tim Morton will be joining us shortly. So tweet us your questions for him right now using the hashtag BlizzCon.
And right now, we're going to head over to the heroic stage because fans here at BlizzCon have been learning how to tell epic stories the Blizzard way at the Lorecraft, the Art of Storytelling panels. Let's check it out.
Producer here at Blizzard. Thank you for attending the Art of Blizzard Storytelling panel. Before we get to the panel itself, we want to give you a unique perspective on what it's like to be in the room as we craft story in support of our games. You'll be a fly on the wall as we show you how we come up with narratives in many different forms of media: cinematics, comics, novels, and audio dramas. So without further ado, here's what it's like to be in the story room. All right, everybody, all right. Settle down, settle down. We need ideas to support the launch of the next WoW expansion. Let's hear what you got. Brooks. How about an audio drama? Perfect. What else? Christy.
I could write a novel.
As long as you kill off all the fan favorite characters. Yes. Robert, comics. Wow me.
We're gonna be doing this 4-issue arc. It's gonna be really epic. We're gonna be featuring Hogger, Millhouse Manastorm. Wait, you're not gonna be killing any of those characters, are you?
Totally not.
Synergy. Love it. Next, what do we got?
Well, I'd be happy to direct a cinematic.
Whoa. Hold on. I want to direct a cinematic.
So be it.
Lore, can I get a little help?
Mak'gora. It's Orcish for Duel of Honor. Traditionally, it's a duel to the death.
No. HR clearly states there will be no duels to the death in the building. Take it outside.
To the field of valor!
You mean the field of misery?
No, I mean the park.
Oh, right. Okay, do we have a script yet? Writer.
I thought this was a lunch meeting.
Other writer.
This is my masterpiece. Alliance forces in a desperate last stand against the Forsaken as wave after wave.
Love it. What's the runtime?
37 hours.
Hate it. Burn it. I need something snappier. Scriptbot 2000. Give me some gold. My man, storyboards. You got that action sequence blocked out yet?
How's this?
Is that a bear shark or a shark bear? Lore?
Neither is canonical in the Warcraft universe.
Ship it anyway. Jeff Kaplan, game director of Overwatch. What you got?
I don't even know why I'm here.
Fantastic. And that's how we get it done here at Blizzard. Oh, Scriptbot 2000, you jokester! Hey, everybody. Hello, BlizzCon. How are you? Welcome to our panel. I am this guy, Timothy Lochran. I am playing the role of Chris Hardwick today for talking Blizzard lore, craft, art of storytelling. With me is the director of story, George Christick.
Hey, guys.
Christy Golden, our senior writer now. Robert Simpson, lead editor of publishing. All right. My man, Mike Koizumi, lead storyboard artist. Yeah. Sean Copeland, historian supervisor. And Mark Messenger, project director, who directed the piece you saw today. And
We have Scriptbot 2000 on hand to answer any questions at any point. I guess I'll just get it started off right now. George, what do we do? What's story?
Well, I think this documentary just showed you what story is at Blizzard, right? Sure. Yeah. No, all joking aside, you know, story for us is what we love, and we love what we do here. You know, the people on this panel are like a manifestation of that. We have all our different disciplines here. And the way we craft story is we get a room together, and it's kind of a combo of, you know, maybe like a night of raiding and WoW, your best night of raiding, and like a TV writer's room. So we take those philosophies. We have this team comp where each skill set is, you know, expressed in the room. And we have, you know, game devs, we have writers, directors, artists, editors, previs folks, storyboard folks. And we break story together. And what we found is that it's a much more holistic process, and also it speaks, you know, directly to gameplay. And it speaks to like the core aspects of storytelling. We break theme together, and it's always everyone has a hand on the wheel, so we have a better idea of where we're going. And you know, it's in some ways it's like that good team comp. You know, everyone has their position, they play it well, and eventually you win the game. There you
Winning
go.
is good.
Yes.
My team comp in the room is usually the sort of, okay, guys, what do we got? What do we got? You saw it in the sort of room that we have there. Sometimes we're not always going to break story for a cinematic. Sometimes an idea that we have in the room is going to move into another medium. And sometimes it's comics. Robert, can you speak a little bit about what idea kind of becomes a comic or a novel that comes out of the room?
Well, I think playing off a little bit of what George was saying, you know, when we start breaking a story, where we start discussing what kind of story we want to tell, usually the game team will come to us and say they want to express something about a particular character. We'll sit down and try and figure out the best way to express that. A good example is the Farah comic that we did for the launch of, yeah, we have some of the images from that. This is walking us through the layouts, the early painting stages, and the final version of both the cover and one of the interior pages. When we started working on Farah, it was originally going to be a cinematic. It was going to be one of the first animated pieces for the launch of Overwatch. But as we started going through the story and trying to figure out what we wanted to tell, we finally decided that we'd have a lot more fun and a lot more space to explore Farah, the other members of her squad, if we did that as a comic. So we shifted away from doing it as a cinematic. We used the initial story, and Andrew Robinson, who is one of the writers on staff with us, he wrote the May cinematic.
He had the 36-hour initial
and
draft.
the 36-hour initial draft in that video you just saw. And the artist Ness Kane, who's actually here at BlizzCon today, they worked together to convert that story into a comic. So it's not exactly the same story we were going to do in the cinematic, but it captures a lot of the same things, and we were able to stretch it and tell different parts of the story.
And we have, when you go to comic, we have a little more freedom financially to do some crazy set pieces that we probably couldn't cover in a 5-minute cinematic.
Yeah, I mean, in this story, it was set in the Anubis map, which we've all played in game, but we were able in the story to go to different areas of that map that you weren't able to see before, and also again develop some of the other members of Farah's squad. So yeah, sometimes we can sort of stretch that budget dollar and yeah, develop things that you can't play in game.
Build more characters. Yeah. So quintessential opponent of our story room, a fixture in every room, is lore. Sean Copeland representing us in there, and he's kind of got a big fan group.
No pressure.
Like it. So we talked about how we create the idea. What's your role, Sean?
Well, I guess to answer that, we should probably go back a little bit and give a little backstory of what the Blizzard Historian role got created at Blizzard Entertainment. So long ago, when I took over leadership of the lore team, I sat down with Chris Metzen and I wanted to ask him, what was his original vision when he created the Historian role? And this was like way back in 2005. And I wanted to know what his vision was. So his actual answer to us became our team's rallying cry. He said, Sean, I want to create world-class dungeon masters. I want folks that live and breathe the rule books. And ultimately, I want those folks to empower the various other dungeon masters across Blizzard so they can continue rocking out their stories and their campaigns, no matter what level they're at. So with that in mind, the Blizzard lore team fully believes that continuity exists to enhance the story, but not to tie the hands of its creators. And what we mean by that is no matter what level of lore familiarity you're at, when you come to Blizzard to do your awesome job, you will have the support of a full team of people that know the history in and out. They know every inch and every piece of minutia of each universe, so you can have a go-to person to fully leverage whatever story you want to tell within a universe. And the cool thing about that is each one of these people on this panel I interact directly with. So I'll take a minute and actually just give a really quick example. So for Tim Lochran, Tim is our senior producer, and he takes all the notes and the minutes for the meeting so we can refer back to them later on. And when he wants to send it out, he always checks with me with spelling and pronunciation. And the funny one about that one is the pronunciation of Saurfang.
Saurfang. No? Sour? Saurfang.
Saurfang.
Sour.
Say it with me.
Saurfang.
And we have little funny things like you wouldn't call it a dinosaur, you would call it a dinosaur. Saurfang.
You slapped my hand on the wrist many times when I would bring it up in the room.
It hurts. With George,
all right, we're back. The lore panel is still going on, but first off, the opening to that panel was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. I love it when people in an office environment, I know it's a creative office, but in an office environment, get together and decide to do a short comedy piece. Because it was fantastic. Scriptbot 4000, where it's just script things coming out. I mean, it's crazy. But also, so Sean, who's now runs the lore team at Blizzard, the fact that he had a conversation with Metzen when he first arrived and took over for the lore, and what Metzen said to him, which I wrote down, so it was amazing, which he said, I want to make every story person here a world-class dungeon master.
Ooh.
Like, for me, I'm just like, thank you. That's I mean, that's why we all play
That is absolutely
games.
why.
And that's especially why we play Blizzard games, is because it really, truly feels, I mean, of course, then you have Hearthstone that is literally going to be a dungeon crawler.
No,
I mean, it's like,
it's
thank
kind of
you
like
for the dungeon
theme
crawler,
of all
everybody.
Of it. I love to see Christy Golden up there too. She's now working at Blizzard. She's written a lot of their novels, novelizations. So it's really nice to see her talk about everything that she's gone into with storytelling.
Of course, and also just getting the insights into how some of the cinematics come to be. The fact that like the comic book for Farah actually started as a cinematic. It was going to be one of a piece in the opening cinematic for Overwatch, and then they decided, let's turn this into a comic book or a comic strip. And now I feel like I just love the way they let the creative drive move them on a business structure. You know what I mean?
Instead of saying, here's our business structure, let's follow that.
Yeah, we're going to make comic books.
You have to do it.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to make comic books. It's like, no, this feels like a comic book. Okay, let's just do that then. Or this feels like a comic, not a cinematic.
And sometimes that's how you have to. When you're trying to be creative, you have to sometimes say, well, I want this to be a book, but maybe it's a movie, or maybe it's a short story, or maybe it's a fanfic. There's so many different ways to be creative, and Blizzard really does
allow them the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. All right, it is time to see what's in the cards for Hearthstone this year. See what I did? See, I said cards because it's a card game. Wow. In the cards.
He did.
All right, let's head it over to the Mythic stage for the Hearthstone What's Next panel, which took place a short time ago.
This is the treasure set. And if we're going to make a treasure set, we need some amazing treasures, some phenomenal treasures, some legendary treasures. For Kobolds and Catacombs, we have 9 legendary weapons, 1 in each class. Ben showed you this earlier, so let's take a look at the Dragon Soul. This is the Priest legendary weapon. It's a 3-mana 0/3, and after you cast 3 spells in a turn, you summon a 5/5 dragon. If you cast 6 spells in your turn, you'll get 2 5/5 dragons. Goes up from there. This is pretty cool, but priests aren't the only ones getting legendary weapons in this set. Let's take a look at the Mage Staff, Alunath. At the end of your turn, draw 3 cards. So you're going to be drawing 4 cards a turn, which is pretty cool. It is, however, a 0/3 weapon, so you're not going to be bopping people on the head very much with this. In fact, that was one of the design challenges with having legendary weapons in Kobolds and Catacombs. It's really important to us that all the classes in Hearthstone feel distinct, and some of the classes have weapons, and some of them don't. So in order to get that across, the caster classes, mages, warlocks, priests, have 0 attack weapons in Kobolds and Catacombs. In fact, early on in design, they didn't have any attack or any durability. Those were just not there on the card at all. In playtesting, it felt pretty weird, but we wanted to keep that sentiment, so they all have 0 attack.
Legendary weapons are something that's very, very near and dear to our hearts with this set. It's one of the last card types to gain legendary status. But legendary status comes with more than just a Drake put across the top of the frame. It comes from more than just an orange gem at the base of that art. Legendary weapons need to feel that not only do they belong to the class to which they've been assigned, but also that they are personas in and of their own right. These weapons have names. They've earned these names. They've gained legend status and become legends in their own right long before they found a home in Hearthstone in many cases. Now, that happens oftentimes in magical weapons through a personality. They gain a little bit of a personality to almost a human-like quality all their own, and in some rare cases can be found to communicate with the hero who wields them, with, of course, delightful and sparkling conversation.
If you played the World of Warcraft Legion expansion, you no doubt discovered very, very powerful artifact weapons. Some of those, like Alaneth, might be making their way into Hearthstone. So there was another important treasure fantasy that we wanted to get across, and that's the idea of you're running a dungeon and you find something and you don't know what it is. You're raiding the boss's stash of treasure and you find a potion. What does it do? Do you dare take a sip? This is something we wanted to explore. So the design team put our heads together and we figured out a way of doing this with what we call unidentified items. So let's take a look at one. This is a new priest card, the unidentified elixir. We don't know what it does. Now we know for sure it's going to cost 3 mana, and we know it will give a minion +2/+2, but it also has some kind of other effect, and we don't know what that other effect is. This is what the card looks like when you put it in your deck during the deck building phase of the game. And you don't find out what it does until you're actually in the game and you draw the card, and then its true nature is revealed. So, what could the unidentified elixir do? Let's take a look. It's definitely going to give a minion +2/+2, but it might give your minion lifesteal. It might give a minion divine shield. It could do some weird stuff, like give a minion +2/+2 and summon a 1/1 copy of it. Or give a minion +2/+2 and a death rattle to return it to your hand.
In design, we called these cherry, grape, banana, and peach.
So you have to adjust your strategy. Until you draw the card, you don't really know how to use it. You need to figure out what delicious flavor you're going to get. We have a video of this in action, so you can see how it works. It's time to draw a card. Let's see what we get. It's unidentified. Right there, it gets identified in your hand. It's the Shadow Elixir. And we have a target for it on the board already. Now, aside from a challenge to design, this also was a challenge to our art team, because we were like, hey guys, draw a thing, but don't show people what it is. The way our art team solved this problem is they kind of wrap them in this shroud so you don't really see what it is. It's kind of like you get to open a birthday present. We have 3 unidentified items in the game, in Kobolds and Catacombs. We've shown you the unidentified elixir. There's some kind of unidentified shield, and some sort of unidentified weapon. But we're not going to show those today. They will remain unidentified. You see what I did there? You see that?
Very good. Unidentified weapons and items are some of the core fantasies that we wanted to explore. As the design team sat down at the beginning of Kobolds and Catacombs, we wanted to figure out what are the core fantasies of treasure. Why is treasure so cool? And we hit on 2 things, anticipation and progression. Anticipation is that feeling as you open a treasure chest, when you're dreaming of all the awesome things that are inside of it. Unidentified items hit on that. As you draw them, you get that moment where you get to hope, oh, this is going to be the perfect one. For progression, we wanted to capture that sense that as you found treasure, your character would get better, and then you find better treasure, and your character would get even better. That's really cool, and so we captured that in the Spellstones. This is the Lesser Jasper Spellstone, the Druid Spellstone. For 1 mana, it does 2 damage to a minion, and while it's sitting in your hand, if you gain 3 armor, it'll upgrade. Let's see what that looks like. Now it deals 4 damage to a minion. If you gain 3 more armor, you get to deal 6 damage to a minion. So 1 mana, deal 6 damage to a minion is a pretty good deal. You might be willing to put some extra cards in your deck to gain armor to take advantage of something like that. Jasper Spellstone is cool, but some of the other Spellstones are the kinds of things you could build your entire deck around. Let's take a look at Shaman's Sapphire Spellstone. All right, for 7 mana, you summon a copy of a friendly minion. If you overload a few mana crystals, you get 2 copies. Overload a few more. And now, for 7 mana, you get 3 copies of a friendly minion. If you combine that with something like Snow Fury Giant or Alakir, you get an instant army. Let's see that in action. So we've got a Flame Wreath Faceless on the board. We've got a Sapphire Spellstone in hand. We'll upgrade our Spellstone to Greater. And now, we've got an army of Flame Wreath Facelesses.
Brutal. Brutal.
It's pretty awesome.
Seems pretty good. So looking at Spellstones, these ended up being a real challenge in communication. Not just communication for the player, but also communication for the opponent oftentimes too, so that they know exactly what just happened to them, such as we just saw. Now, it's important, of course, that these feel very class-specific. When you see a Spellstone, you should know immediately what class it's ascribed to. Additionally to that, though, what Peter mentioned before is very important, which is you want these to feel as though they're leveling up. You want to feel that progression as you go. So they really need to have 3 very clearly defined states. This ends up being a practice in looking at different silhouettes or colors and changing the palette of the Spellstones slightly, all of which help towards getting that sense of progression. Ultimately, the bonus of this is you get the golden version of this, and you've got 3 goldens that are distinctly different from one another and really cashing in on that fantasy of them leveling up in progression. And ultimately, they're some of our favorite effects in the game.
So we've got a lot of treasure sitting here. We've got legendary weapons, spellstones of great power. We've got unidentified items. You put that much treasure in one place, you're bound to attract some unsavory types. Adventurers. Adventurers. The bane of every kobold. Beware those armored looting brutes. Beware recruits come seeking loot. Those tromping, stomping louts. With swinging swords and for the hordes, they snuff our candles out. Adventurers. You know, we have the fantasy, I mean, this says it's crawling with adventurers. We have the fantasy of not just that you're putting adventurers, an adventurer party in your own deck, but your opponent might be doing the same. And in fact, in the single player dungeon run mode that we're going to talk about soon, you might be looting the dungeon and you might run across an AI controlled adventurer doing the same thing that you're doing in the dungeon, looking for loot, and you might have to fight. Adventurers. What's the deal with these guys? Who brings a guitar into a dungeon anyway? Who does that?
Come on, Dave. Bards are awesome. What's a party without a little bit of music? Adventurers are really cool, and they were very important to capturing that fantasy of doing the dungeon run. And so, we introduced the Guild. We needed you to have a few friends. This is a group of guys that raid the dungeon every week, venturing deep into the Kobold Catacombs, and you've already met one of their members. Let's take a look at Marin the Fox. When Marin comes into play, he summons a 0/8 treasure chest for your opponent. We really like Marin the Fox, and he is the Guild's Chief Procurement Officer.
Procurement.
He goes out and finds awesome treasures. So what are the treasures that Marin finds? Let's take a look. We've got Toland's Goblet. Draw a card and fill your hand with copies of it. We've got Zerog's Crown. Discover a legendary minion and summon 2 of it. We have the Golden Kobold. It replaces your hand with legendary minions. And we have the Wondrous Wand. You draw 3 cards and they're all free. Marin is pretty fantastic. And the coolest thing about him is that you can play him starting next week. He's free for all of our players as soon as you log in. And even better, if you're sitting here at BlizzCon or you're watching via the virtual ticket, you'll also get a golden copy of Marin the Fox.
I'm excited about Marin. The only thing I hear here is if I get a golden Marin, I've got 5 goldens for the price of 1, and that seems like a good deal for any looting adventurer.
It's pretty awesome. The Guild is really cool, but Marin's not the only member. In fact, the Guild is so cool, they have a keyword, recruit. Recruit means summon a random minion from your deck. Let's take a look at one of those cards. Gather your party. You're sitting in a tavern, You're a warrior, you got 6 mana, and you get to recruit a minion. You'll summon a random minion from your deck, maybe something like the Lich King or Yashiraj. Those are absolutely the guys you want in your adventuring party. Recruit's pretty cool, and it introduces deck building challenges. How many minions do you want to have in your deck? Do you want to just have giant ones? Let's take a look at one of the other versions of Recruit that has slightly different deck building challenges, the Guild Recruiter. The Guild Recruiter will go out and she'll recruit a small minion for you, any minion that costs 4 or less. And these deck building challenges are different. Do you want only 4-drop minions? Do you want to have any 1s, 2s, or 3s? Do you only want minions that have negative battle cries, things like Pit Lord, or cards with overload, like Flamewreath Faceless? If you summon a minion from your deck, its battle cry won't fire, so those things won't hurt you. We're pretty interested in seeing how players explore with the recruit mechanic and build new decks.
So, we have lots of treasure and lots of adventurers looking for treasure, but they have their work cut out for them because as the kobolds are digging, they're finding lots of things. And when a kobold finds a terrible, terrible monster, a kobold tunnels quickly in the opposite direction. Tunnel over monster lairs, tunnel under trolls and bears, tunnel round the oozing creep. By candlelight see sights so beastly. When you dig, dig, dig down deep. Man, this place crawls. What kind of monsters are we gonna find in here, Ben?
Well, what would a dungeon be without its wandering denizens of the deep? Any adventuring party knows as soon as you head into any dungeon, you're bound to run into something. And it turns out the kobolds have got more than their fair share full to deal with. And now, as a result, so do you. As an art team and a design team together, putting our own candles together, as it were, figuring out what these would look like, we spent a lot of time to try to figure out not just what kind of creatures we would run into, but how do we do these in a Hearthstone way? How do we bring out that charm and vibe? And what we ended up with was a series of faces that only a broodmother could love or fall in love with over time. And many of these would find their way into the set. Many of these would become some amazing cards that you'll have a chance to run into once the set's released. Some of them, however, have to get held over onto another card for another set and another day. So, sorry, Mini Tauren, your day will come.
Yeah, the giant hulking Pepe bird did not make it into the set, but did find a place in my nightmares.
You should, however, be prepared for, of course, the random wandering slime or oozes as they find their way down the tunnels. Possibly sentient fungi who found ways of their own to trouble the adventuring crew. As you head deeper still, there will be even more challenges awaiting you, such as possibly treasure chests better left unopened, maybe a quillbore here and there, and of course furbogs, which bring their own sense of danger as they have learned to harness mystical arts, making lives truly troublesome for your loot adventurers. And then finally, as the halls have opened up and the halls get bigger and the end game gets even stronger, we run into some truly fearsome creatures that you won't want to write home about.
Those are some pretty scary monsters, Ben. Wouldn't it be terrible if you were just walking down a dungeon corridor, minding your own business, going face, and then out of nowhere, bam! Look out! Wandering monster. Sounds pretty scary, but it makes for a pretty cool hunter secret. When an enemy attacks your hero, you'll get to summon a random 3-cost minion to defend you. It's pretty cool. Ben showed off some of the slimes and oozes in the set. Let's take a look at one of those as a collectible card. This is the Carnivorous Cube. It's battle cry, eats one of your minions, and then when it dies, you'll get 2 copies of it.
Yeah, we don't talk about what happens inside the Carnivorous Cube.
Something terrible. Carnivorous Cube is modeled after one of the cards we really liked from One Night in Karazhan, the Moat Lurker. Moat Lurker could come into play, eat a minion, and then when the Moat Lurker died, you'd resummon it. It was really cool when you got to use Moat Lurker on one of your own Death Rattle minions, something like a Sylvanas, and be able to trigger its Death Rattle multiple times. So we wanted to make a card that better played that up, which led us to the Carnivorous Cube. If you eat one of your Death Rattle minions, you'll get a lot of Death Rattle triggers. But monsters aren't the only scary thing down here. There are also some terrible traps. Let's see one of those. These are the Crushing Walls. Ben showed this off this morning, and it destroys your opponent's outermost minions. Their left and rightmost minion just die. Let's see that in action. So they've got a Lich King, they've got Alexstrasza, and now they've got nothing.
Problem solved.
It's pretty great. So let's see, we've got Wandering Monsters, Carnivorous Cubes, Crushing Walls. All right, that's pretty mundane. Those are the mundane things in the Cobalt Catacombs. We've got some truly horrifying monsters down here. Some things that are so terrible, they require a legendary ritual to unlock. Let's take a look at Rin. Rin, the first disciple. She's the Warlock legendary, and when she dies, she sets you on a terrible path. She begins a ritual. You'll get the first seal in your hand. When you break it, you'll summon a 2/2 demon and gain the second seal. Break the second seal, you get a 3/3 demon.
Sensing a pattern here, Peter.
Now you've got the third seal and the fourth seal and the final seal. So now here you are, 31 mana later, and you've earned Azari the Devourer. Let's take a look. Battle Cry. Destroy your opponent's deck. Let's see that in action. So we've got Azari and they have a deck. And we play Azari and we fixed it. It's pretty awesome. That's one of my favorite animations.
Wow, that is some scary stuff. The dungeon is a terrible place. We've got these powerful adventurers on one side. We've got these horrible monsters in the middle, and on the other. And in the middle, we have the kobolds. This is their time to shine. This is when they put their candles together. They pool their resources, and they form an unstoppable army of, oh, who are we kidding? They're kobolds. What are they going to do? Somehow they're going to have to squeak by. Come beasts that prowl and growl. Come heroes and knights most foul, with our noggins we'll contrive. Always skulking, never balking, we kobolds will survive. I've been reading these verses to you. This is something we wrote early on in the design process because we wanted to explore what does the dungeon look like if you're the lowest monster on the totem pole. We gravitated toward kobolds for a couple of reasons on this set. One is they're the kind of small monster that you might find in all kinds of dungeon environments, so we really like that. The other is there's something uniquely Warcraft about the Warcraft kobolds. The way they use their candles on their head as a mining light. They even have their own catchphrase. Come say it with me now. Take candle! Love these guys. We knew once we tried to figure out how to get them into Hearthstone, our team would have a lot of fun with this.
This is, in fact, how most of us remember kobolds looking from our time in World of Warcraft. The literal tunnel rats of Azeroth, forever beseeching us to refrain from snuffing out their hallowed illuminations. And most of us did it, right? So what happens when we corner these poor beasts in their own lair? Just what can we expect then? Well, as Dave mentioned, these are some resourceful fellows. And as a result, they've started to look to their own environment to provide the answers. You've got some who fashioned armor out of some of the poorer beasts in the deep. You've got some who maybe harnessed the more magical property of the incandescent fungi.
Want to buy a fungal cake?
You've even got, as you head in deeper, the crystal veins that run along the walls, and some of them have started to level up their own weapons with that, or to hear them tell it, make diggy things glow bright. And finally, you've got some that have learned the mystical arts of the darker magics themselves. And while they might be just as dangerous to those around them, or even to themselves, there's still nothing to laugh about. Now, get to the deepest layers, and some of these guys have found a way to turn some of the denizens of the deep to their own resourcefulness. We've got dire moles that have been used to dig deeper and deeper still, and some of them have even found ways to harness the magical properties of wax itself. Truly terrifying if you've made it this far.
We have the idea that the kobolds are sort of making do with their environment as best they can. So if they discover a mushroom cave, they might use these mushrooms to create concoctions to use against adventurers or to use as illumination. Here's somebody you might find. This is Voodoo Master Vex. Voodoo Master Vex is a kobold who was digging some tunnels and stumbled on a troll burial ground. Voodoo Master Vex has been hanging out with trolls so long, he thinks he is a troll. He loves hexes. You might run across him in the single-player dungeon. And then this guy is one of our favorites, Candlebeard. Candlebeard was tunneling along one day and he stumbled on a buried pirate treasure. Now, Candlebeard does not have a ship of his own. In fact, Candlebeard has never seen the ocean, but he thinks he's a pirate. His favorite move is charge. Thank you, I'm here all weekend. Tip your waiter.
With all of those awesome kobolds, we needed to have awesome designs to go with them. And so we tried to figure out what different kobolds could do. Here is the Kobold Illusionist. When he dies, he's going to summon a shadow copy of one of the minions in your hand. That could be something innocuous, like a Gadgetian Auctioneer, or a Malagos, or maybe another Death Rattle minion. So you can take advantage of that and do some pretty cool things. But rogues aren't the only ones who get kobolds. We wanted to have a Paladin kobold too. With all of those adventurers running around in the dungeon, we needed to have a solution. The kobolds were going to throw them in jail. Here's the Drygulch Jailer. When he dies, you get to rescue 3 Silverhand recruits that he'd been keeping in prison. This is pretty cool with some of the Mean Streets of Gadgetzans cards that buff the minions in your hand. It also gave us a great story for why we have kobolds in Paladin.
Now, just who leads these tunnel-digging misfits of Azeroth, you may ask? What kind of luminary would it take to bring all the candles together under a single, albeit slightly brighter, candle of his own? Begin our search for the Kobold King. As we began to take the first forays into what it would take to lead such a bunch of rat men across the world of Azeroth, we knew that he would sit on a waxen throne. That much was without question. But would he perhaps be carried through the tunnels on a dais of his own, carried by some of the smaller, meeker kobolds? Perhaps, in fact, his mode of transportation would be a golem of his own mystical construct. Ultimately, as it turns out, all you really need to be the leader of the Kobold Nation is that extra IQ point that it takes to think about putting a lantern on the candle around your head to keep it from being snuffed out. And so, we ended up with this guy. This is our first sketch of King Togwaggle, the king of the kobolds. We see him here in the initial concept sketch with the treasure that he has strapped to his back for safekeeping, mostly from other kobolds, probably, and his regal shovel, lest anyone question his sovereignty. And as we see him in the game, lounging on his throne in a somewhat cocky manner, he's pretty sure no adventurers are going to find their way down to him. But if you do, keep in mind it's going to take more than just your wits to snuff out this particular candle.
There is a secret to the lantern he wears on his head, and you might discover it if you run across him at the bottom of our dungeon. Hearthstone often has like a host to kind of welcome you to the adventure, be it Party Hard, Medivh, and the Put Upon Morose, or the Lich King goading and taunting you forward. The Candle King, the Kobold King kind of acts as our host this time around. And he's got a tough job. He's got these ragamuffin kobolds, and then he's got these adventurers, these monsters. But he's got a plan. He's going to make this situation work for him. Let them come and loot our realm. Let them come steal boots and helms. Listen to my lamp, you unwashed gaggle. We'll take measures, steal their treasures, and give the best to me, Togwaggle! The Kobold King's plan is going to come into fruition in the single-player Hearthstone mode that we've created. Since Knights of the Frozen Throne, Hearthstone always has a full set of cards, as well as a free single-player mission content. This time around, we wanted to go big. We wanted to capture that fantasy of storming into a dungeon. You kick down a door and you don't know what's behind it. There's going to be some terrible monster. You're going to fight the terrible monster. And then you're going to loot the monster, and you're going to get more powerful so you can kick down another door, fight another monster, and delve deeper.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Oh, I love everything Hearthstone, and I love every time Dave Kosak gets up there on the stage and talks about anything. He's so fun.
I know. He is amazing. That Hearthstone. Kobold.
Take Candle.
Take Candle. I mean, that should be the name of the expansion is Take Candle.
Why has Blizzard not had candle hats that everyone can have? Why do we not have a candle hat? Like, there's a candle beard. The guy's got, like, you can even do a candle beard. You'd wear a candle beard.
I'm wearing one right now. People just can't see it. It's invisible.
All right, guys. Well, we still have a lot to get to today, but here's what's coming up on the show. Up next at 3 o'clock, we've got the Overwatch What's Next.
A lot of stuff going to happen in that Overwatch.
Yeah, we've got to look at Moira. We're going to be looking at probably Blizzard World.
The map, yep.
Yeah, at 3:50, we're going to be looking at an interview. He's going to be here with us. Dave Kosak, lead mission designer at Hearthstone.
We'll talk to him about the candles.
Lots of candle combo going to be going on. Tweet us your questions for any of the developers, guys. 4:50, we're going to be having our interview with Jeff Kaplan, who's the game director and vice president on Overwatch, Mr. Jeff Kaplan.
He's going to have a lot of stuff to talk about.
He is. He's got a lot of explaining to do.
A lot of explaining
with
to do.
everything. At 5 o'clock, we have the Heroes of the Storm What's Next, and 6 p.m., of course, is our community nights, which we're so excited about.
Always the best way to end a Friday, as it were. Well, joining us now is StarCraft 2 production director Tim Morton. Tim, how are you, sir?
What's up, Tim?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
We're having a great time.
This is a big year for StarCraft 2.
It really is. We are super excited about all the announcements that we had here at the show.
Well, you know, one of the things that's great, I mean, obviously, this is the big thing, free to play.
That is right.
Free to play, and not only that, there was something that you guys showed in opening ceremony that I personally loved. I looked at Alex and I was like, "This is me." On the website, I have been so honest about this. StarCraft has just never been a game that has been something I just got into, and I've always wanted to play it. But honest to God, I've been intimidated by it a bit because it's cerebral and it's been around a long time. And there was something about when you guys showed that website of how do you play, and I know there's a tutorial, but it's still, I don't know, it's still difficult. So when you guys said, we're going to make sure these things don't happen anymore and make sure there's an all-inclusive experience. So how are you guys going to go about doing that?
Well, we found that a lot of people were confused about how even to start playing just in terms of what they needed to own. So there's Wings of Liberty, there's Heart of the Swarm, Legacy of the Void. There's more content that we've released since then. This is going to really simplify things. So all you need is the one download. It's StarCraft 2.
Boom.
And when you launch into the game, we're going to make an effort to guide players to the game mode that's appropriate to them. So if you're a new RTS player, we'll give you a chance to get some tutorials and get some time playing against AI before you go try any crazy competitive gameplay. But if you're a more veteran RTS player, then we'll give you a different guided experience. So hopefully it'll be less intimidating.
No, I love that because part of my problem is always, and I know, I mean, some people watching on the ticket are going to be like, Michelle, what are you talking about? Then other people are going to be like, yes, this is me, I understand. It's like, I don't know what thing to build first and why. So I guess that's part of, like, you know, my problems. I'm really excited to kind of learn that.
Well,
we can play
also,
together.
Well, there you go. One of the other things that was a big success coming out a couple BlizzCons ago was the whole co-op campaign stuff. And so you guys have kind of doubled down on the new co-op stuff and even including a new map that was a community-created map.
Oh, yeah, that's really
which
cool.
is fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Co-op was a new game mode addition in Legacy of the Void, and it's just been increasing in popularity, and it hasn't stopped. Every commander that we release is more popular than the one that we released before. So that's exciting for us as a team to see that the new content is really resonating with the audience. I think part of that is the intimidation factor is a little bit lower with cooperative play. Playing against an AI opponent, you know, socially with a friend isn't as bad as that 1 versus 1 head-to-head, you know, just tension.
Competition, yeah.
Totally. So we're continuing to release new content for co-op. We've got a new commander, sort of 2 commanders in one.
Right, Myra
like
and
the
Matt.
Shogal
right?
of
Myra and Horner are both combined into a single commander. They've got distinct abilities and kind of distinct personalities, and you'll hear some chatter between them as you play them. We've got them here on the BlizzCon floor to check out as well. And then we've also got this new map that you mentioned.
Yeah, so something I really wanted to talk about because this is really cool. So you had one of the community members just they had designed a map. There was a contest. Can you talk a little bit about how that went down?
Absolutely. Generally once a year for StarCraft 2, we have a contest where we try to encourage our community to produce a particular type of content. In this past year, because co-op's been so popular, this was to design a co-op map. And we got a tremendous number of submissions that were really good. And who knows, maybe we'll take advantage of some of those in the future as well. But this was the map that really, stood out and we felt made sense to do as the first co-op map. We take the work that's done by the community. We do some additional sort of art changes and gameplay tuning. So
it's like you're like, this is a great idea and a great start, and now we're just kind of gonna make it give it the Blizzard polish.
That's exactly right.
Blizzard polish, I
the
love
Blizzard polish. So for the person who won, what was their name? And do you know their name and what they received?
I'm gonna butcher the name, but there was a cash prize associated with winning.
Oh,
and
wow.
There's online voting that we had throughout the course of the contest. So yeah, it's a really great opportunity for community members to participate in getting their own content in StarCraft 2.
So when the free-to-play stuff comes out, what do we get? It's the Wings of Liberty, right? And then you also get all the co-op commanders, and you get them up to level 5. And then if you want them, you have the ability to purchase those anyway. What was the thinking around where you guys decided to stop the free-to-play and be like, okay, this is where we want to get people in because this is the true StarCraft 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this from a just dev team perspective. Tried to put a lot of thought into doing this the right way. A lot of times when games are free to play, they'll introduce a new currency, earns and unlocks. And we really, for StarCraft 2, we didn't introduce a new currency. We didn't introduce new microtransactions. We're just taking content that used to cost money before and providing it for free. So Wings of Liberty, you mentioned, all of the commanders up to level 5. And then also the ranked ladder and unranked multiplayer, which previously were not available for free. So all of this stuff is now just there. There is an unlock necessary in terms of having 10 first wins of the day to get into the ranked ladder, just so that we don't have a lot of bad behavior out of the gate.
Oh, well, that's actually really, really smart. So you have to sort of prove that you are a person that could be in the ladder before they're like, here's the ladder, come on in, this will be fun.
Can we do that with all games?
Yeah, right?
Because I'd like to, can you talk to the Overwatch team about that, maybe?
Yeah.
Made some notes. Yeah, no, I think we all struggle with making sure that our players have the friendliest environment possible to play in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another thing I really wanted to talk to you about was Remastered, because it's going so well. So let's talk a little bit about Remastered and where it's at.
Yeah, this was such a special moment in esports history, certainly in StarCraft 1, but also just in RTS history. The story from StarCraft 1 is one of my favorite RTS stories of all times. And I think the team for StarCraft Remastered just did an outstanding job of keeping the gameplay intact, so not changing any of the elements that made that game great, but updating it for modern operating systems, modern matchmaking, making the graphics look crisp like we would expect, and it's been very well received by the audience.
Oh,
That's
totally.
awesome, yeah.
And of course, War Chest Season 2 is coming up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. And that added to the giant prize pool this year for StarCraft, which is the biggest prize pool you guys have had here, right?
Yeah, this was absolutely the biggest BlizzCon prize pool that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And that was
Something
enabled.
700, something like that?
We added 200,000, right, to the 500,000 that was already there. So we're at 700 total this year. And that really was made possible by our players who participated in the War Chest crowdfunding initiative.
I love that you guys do
it's
that.
so great.
Because it just allows the community to have such an active participation in the esport and just in the game in general, but it really allows people to want to contribute to the players, to contribute to what they can win out there, because players work their asses off.
Oh, yeah, and it shows a way to support without, I mean, it's really fantastic. So you're also adding a whole bunch of stuff in Season 2. So it says here you got full army skins, digital goodies. So what is it? The co-op stim packs and the UI skins. So what's the deal with the UI skins?
Yeah.
We had a lot of requests from our players to provide alternative art for the framing around the UI in the game. And it's something that we had started to experiment with, actually, because of co-op mode. So this is a chance now for players to pick between art for their in-game UI, and by participating in the War Chest, they'll unlock UI skins. So
They'll unlock art?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's not like it's art like here's if you play Zerg or here's if you play.
There will be a different
like
skin
that?
per race, and War Chest is actually broken down per race, or you can buy a bundle. But if you're, somebody who only plays Protoss, you can just unlock the Protoss content, or if you want to get the bundle, you can get it all.
That's cool.
That's fantastic. And have you guys talked about when this is going to be available? I mean, I know it's BlizzCon, so it's always not today, but maybe tomorrow.
The next War Chest is going to come in December,
great.
and free-to-play is going to start launching on November 14th.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's actually really... Did you guys say that at Open Ceremony?
I know. I feel like we've been doing
why
so
did I
much, we
not-
totally missed that.
What?
We talked about it in the panel.
In the
so,
panel.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's why.
This is why we
don't
missed it.
get to see everything. That's why we like the virtual ticket, because then we can go home and watch all of these panels.
Oh, so
That's
great.
awesome, man. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Guys, today we've got a really cool panel coming up in just a couple minutes. It's called The Voices of Blizzard, the Powerful Women of Warcraft.
It seems like now that we saw some of the stuff, the powerful women of Warcraft are taking over.
They really are.
Jaina Proudmoore.
Lady Sylvanas.
Lady Sylvanas.
Yeah,
I mean,
Sylvanas and Jaina have been like taking over for a long time. But I will say, there's a fun fact. On this panel, it's a lot of the voiceover actresses from World of Warcraft. And the woman who plays Lady Sylvanas, she's also the voice of Cheer Bear. So I'd like to just let that sit into everybody at home that Sylvanas is Cheer Bear. And I actually have both those action figures, and they're going to be together.
now that you know that they're the same person, they're going to be together.
So best fun fact about
That's
Sylvanas.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, don't forget to enhance your BlizzCon experience by taking full advantage of the new and improved BlizzCon mobile app. It streams panels and videos. You can save events to your app calendar, and you now have the ability to add friends directly from the BNet mobile app, which I love.
This is so great because you can be here at BlizzCon and you can meet somebody and start.
Just do it. Because otherwise you're like, what's your text? Hold on, let me open my notes section. Let me text it. It's a whole thing. And now you can just go straight from the app.
In the app, you can become friends, and especially if you're sitting in and playing, because a lot of people meet teammates playing in the demo areas, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you'll sit down and play Overwatch with people and be like, we got to go home and play Overwatch together because you're rad. You're a good Genji main.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm your hands-on man, you're my Genji main. Let's be brothers together in BattleNet. All right, well, now it is time to meet the voice actresses who bring some of your favorite WoW characters to life. Let's head over to the legendary stage for Voices of BlizzCon, the Powerful Women of Warcraft.
Welcome to the Voices of Blizzard, the Powerful Women of Warcraft panel.
I love you more. Where's my VO guild at? Where's my VO guild? They're sprinkled around. I love you guys. Welcome, BlizzCon 2017. I'm so happy to have you guys here. How's everybody doing? You having a good time? Woo! I'm so happy to have you here. For those of you who are new to the voiceover experience, my name is Andrea Toyas. I'm the Senior Casting and Voice Director at Blizzard. For the last 4 years running, we had a voice actor stage, which was great, but we got upgraded to this. We're now streaming to all of our viewers around. Let's say hi to all of our viewers. Hello! Yes, I missed the voice actor stage, but this happened because a lot of viewers wanted to kind of partake in our crazy voice actor craziness as well. So I'm very happy to see you guys. Kind of a different setup. We don't have our own usual vaudevillian freak show, as I call it, but I'm very happy to have you here. Oh, look at the VO Guild t-shirt. I love you so much. Who's got their t-shirts from last year? Anybody? I love you. Everybody else is dead to me, but I love you, and I love you. I love you all. I'm kidding. So I'm very happy to be here today. It's been a crazy year since last I saw you. For those of you who've been to my voice actor stage before, you know that usually we have coffee together and we talk about life. We talk about how everybody's doing, but I can't do that because we're on a clock for the TV right now. But how's everybody doing? Life been good to you in the last year? Yeah? Life been kind of crappy sometimes too? Yeah, I know. But you know what? We're here, right? We're all, you guys got BlizzCon tickets, for God's sake, right? We're here. Let's cheer for BlizzCon tickets. So I work at Blizzard, and I almost can't get a ticket, so it's a very big deal to have you here. So, all right. So I tell you what, for those of you, I love all of you, and because I don't get a chance to have our one-on-one, if anybody wants to chat about their life and what's going on, I'm going to be here after, and I really mean that. I feel like you guys are my tribe, so whoever wants to hang out later and maybe grab a vodka at the Hilton, I will be there. So on me, I'm going to buy 5,000 shots of vodka for everybody in the audience. I joke. My point is I love you, and every year I come to BlizzCon, I'm so grateful to be here to celebrate voice actors, but I'm so grateful that you give I can't swear this year, people. Who knows that I have had problems with that in the past? I'm under direct orders to keep it G-rated. So my point is I'm so happy to be here because you guys give a crap about being here. So the fact that you guys care enough about voice actors to be here really means the world to me. So from the bottom of my heart, I love you, and I thank you very much. Let's just cheer for love. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So speaking of love, I've got one. I want to kind of start on a very serious note right now. I am going to dedicate this panel to a very good friend of mine. I hit the button and it didn't work. Let's try it again. I want to do a quick dedication. Thank you to my beautiful, wonderful friend. His name is Pierre Debs. He's from the Screen Actors Guild. And every voice actor stage and every voice actor panel, he'd be sitting right in the center. We unexpectedly lost him this year. But the reason I'm dedicating this panel to him is because Pierre really believed in Blizzard. He really believed in World of Warcraft, and he really believed in actors. And it's because of Pierre Debs that this panel's even happening. With Pierre's help at the Screen Actors Guild, we took this game Union. What that means to you is we're able to bring the best talent in the world to bring your characters to life because he fought for that. And he fought for making World of Warcraft Union, and he fought for this panel. So, I love this man with all my heart. I'm still deeply grieving, but I know he's with us. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you something silly. I'm going to count to 3, and if you don't mind, with all your heart and with all your love, if you care about our characters in World of Warcraft, I want you to shout out with all your might, "Thank you, Pierre," because I really believe in the afterlife, and I believe he's here somewhere floating with us. Are you guys cool with that? Okay, I'm going to count down to 3, and then really loud with all your heart, thanking him for everything. Let's shout out, "Thank you, Pierre." Okay? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, let's clap for Pierre. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me. I love that man. He believes in us, and I love you for loving him too. So you guys want to get started with our panel? How about that? Let's do it. All right. Let's bring out our victim number 1, which will be, let me get my notes, the wonderful former leader of the Kirin Tour, Lady Jaina Proudmoore.
My magic will tear you apart!
Give it up for Laura Bailey. She's amazing. Beautiful. I love you, love you, love you. They love you, Laura. Woo! It's so good. It's so good. Beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited to be. I got chills on my arms. I'm so excited to be here. Oh my goodness. Okay. But, you know, any good VO panel featuring strong female characters would not be the same without the one, the only, the Queen Regent of Ironforge and the Queen Regent of the Dark Iron Clan, Moira Thorison.
Didn't think the Dark Iron would let the lot of you have all the fun,
Elle
did you?
Newlands, come on out. I love you. Ah, it's so exciting. All right, who's behind door number 3? We have, oh, these screens are very complicated. We have, I'm so excited to be here. I'm celebrating a bunch of rad chicks. Come on now. This is pretty phenomenal, right? Never, never, never in Blizzard voice actor stage have we had all chicks on the stage, so it's pretty rad. So now we get our legendary, powerful warden, Hunter of the Betrayer. We have Maiev Shadowsong.
My glaive is very, very sharp.
Debbie Mae West, come on out. Rocking her cool ass style. Beautiful. Awesome. Great. This is so cool to have so many chicks. I'm just kind of losing my mind over it already. I know. Look at everybody. Hi. Can you see us? Hi. So rad. All right. Bachelor number 4. The fabulous Blood Knight matriarch, Lady of Light, Lady Liadrin.
I'm not
also known as Misty Lee. Oh my gosh. Beautiful Misty Lee. So good. God, it was really hard. There's so many rad chicks in World of Warcraft. It was hard to make a list, but it's so fun to have you all here. But so next I have the wonderful, the kind of new character, but really an amazing character which we're gonna dial into, and that is First Arcanist of Suramar, Thalistra.
Make haste.
Sally Safioti. Beautiful lady. Gorgeous. All right. We got how many do we have left? Just okay. We got 2 more left. Awesome. I wanted to play a guessing game. I wonder if you guys know who's coming next, but you probably don't. But this is a wonderful. Who do you think it is? What? Who cares about that character? Don't be ridiculous. So minor, so insignificant. All right, so our next character, kind of new to our family, who I love so much, I hope you guys love as much, is our wonderful ranger, our wonderful guide through Azeroth, Lady Illyria Windrunner.
Keep your gaze fixed.
Mara Juno. Come on out, hot stuff. Hi. All right, beautiful. Mara Juno, everybody. Right there, we got one more. I guess I'll just bring out a really insignificant, boring character that nobody remotely cares about. All right, so I guess we could not have a powerful female characters of Warcraft panel without the Dark Lady.
I will not fall. Not
Lady
here.
Sylvanas Windrunner, War Chief of the Horde, Patty Matson. So rad. So rad. Look at those pants. But look at, oh God, I'm getting goosebumps looking at you. But none of this would be possible without the ever-patient, ever-loving, ever-kind lead narrative designer, who I also call Poopy Pants, because sometimes he's got to work long hours and he works really hard and tirelessly for us. Probably my most favorite person at Blizzard, Lady Steve Denuser. Come on out. Can we just take a second? Like, I gotta tell you, as a voice director at Blizzard, I never get to see all the actors together. To see all these rad, freaking women on one panel, and Steve, there's the obligatory Steve. Let's just clap for having all these rad chicks in the house. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's so cool to see you guys here. So for those of you who are new to kind of the voice actor panels, what I tend to do is kind of talk to each wonderful rad actor directly, and then we kind of talk about some big themes for what we're doing, and then we have some Q&A. The last 15 minutes will be Q&A. So I think we should just start and kind of dig into lovely Lady Jaina Proudmore, if I could even spot. Yes, you're going to go first. But here's the thing, the thing is, it's hard. Look, they work on a lot of games. I work on a lot of Blizzard games. It's hard to know all the lore of the games. But what I really want to focus on today is the magnificent power and character they're bringing to the character. Because I tell you, when I cast voice actors for our roles, and Steve knows this, we're not just looking for the right voice, we're looking for the right person. We're looking for somebody to connect to our character, to bring our story and our characters to life. Don't you think so, Steve? Like, we're really trying to hear that extra something.
Oh yeah, that actress that brings so much to the table, that pulls the life out of those lines.
That's right.
And makes it just gives it so much more depth.
It really, really does.
Yeah,
and so when I work with voice actors, I was having water with these actresses earlier. And I was talking about the fact that, what makes all of them so magnificent is that they're not just doing a voice, because, anybody could kind of do that. What they're bringing to us is their life story. When an actress or actor comes into the booth, they're bringing all their wins.
Oh, there they are, walking down the halls, Oh, come on. This is the best part, is you get so much art. And by the way, Probius, we got a wild Probius floating around the floor at some point. Everybody getting their first look at what everybody at Blizzard has in store. Welcome back, everybody. If you would like to continue watching the Voices of Blizzard panel, you can find it on in the watch box under the live tab. It's always good to see all of those powerful women creating powerful characters.
I know.
All about the power.
I would love to be able to talk about that panel, but half of them hadn't even been on stage.
I know. This is
but you know what?
so
We
much
still
stuff to cover.
We had such massive characters on that stage. Yeah. It's really cool to see all of them together, because rarely do you see all of the female voice talent just sitting in a row and hanging out. It's really, really, really cool.
Fantastic.
But guys, right now, let's check in with Rachel, who's standing by in the Overwatch arena.
Hey guys, thanks so much. I'm here at the Overwatch Arena, and joining me is ZP, one of our casters for the Overwatch World Cup. Now the games today have already been thrilling. ZP, give me a short rundown of what you've seen so far.
So far we've seen interesting stuff here where Team Sweden was slightly favored coming in to the setup, and it was just wondering, well, would Sweden beat some of their land nerves that they've had in recent times? And Sweden was actually able to come forward and crush the previously undefeated United Kingdom. And for fans of Team Sweden, this is whoever returned the form.
Pretty awesome. We got Australia behind us kicking some butt right now. Is this how you thought it would go?
I actually did think this how it would go. I think a lot of people favored Canada, but looking at Australia, they've had a lot of experience in recent tournaments like APAC. 4 of their members are a part of Team Blank that has been playing there on this patch where a lot of teams are inexperienced. So the idea that right now they've been taking it to Canada and very well could upset Canada doesn't surprise me.
Pretty sweet. Speaking of new patches and things to come in Overwatch, they announced Moria in the opening ceremonies, a high damage dealing support player. How do you think that's going to fit into all this?
Well, look, there's the kind of the joke that people play Overwatch and they go, I DPS. Well, now you can do that while playing a support hero. You could do it while playing Zen, but you have another option other than Zenyatta, one that has a crazy beam ultimate to top things off. So she looks really cool.
I can't wait to play her myself. Well, thank you, ZP, for talking to us. Now we're going to throw it over to an Overwatch panel to discuss some things that happened earlier.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the panel today. My name is Brandy Camel. I am your community manager for Diablo. And today, so we did kind of run into a little bit of an unexpected snafu earlier. And as with all live productions, we're moving forward. Sometimes things don't work out quite right. So today we're going to be taking some of your guys' questions. We're going to be talking about the visual effects of the Necromancer and just kind of digging into the way that we approach visual effects and how some of these key skills came together. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our panelists. So to my immediate left, hey Julian, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Can you go ahead and give everybody your title and how long you worked for Blizzard?
Yeah, so my name is Julian Love, and I am the lead VFX artist for the Diablo team. And I have worked at Blizzard for 15 years now? Yeah, just over 15.
So you just got your ring.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Give it up for Julian. And then on my far left, we have Jane Johnston. Hi, Jane.
Hi, guys.
Can you go ahead and give us your title and how long you've been at Blizzard?
I am a visual effects artist on Diablo, and I've been at Blizzard for almost 3 years.
Fantastic. So these two were really instrumental in working on the visual effects of the Necromancer. Julian kind of led the charge on it, and Jane worked on some of the key skills as well. As I mentioned, we are going to be taking questions. There is a microphone off to the right of the stage. So if you have questions, go ahead and line up now. We'll start with a couple of basics as we get into it. So in the meantime, don't be shy. Just come up and ask us whatever you guys want to know. Do keep in mind that this is a visual effects panel, so we're really going to have to focus on that topic. We're not really going to get into like the technical side of things of Diablo, but more of the art and the style and the things that go into that sort of stuff. So, first question: why don't we talk about what your guys' favorite skills on the Necromancer were to work on?
So for me, I think I would have to pick Skeleton Mage, and the reason for that is that it seems like it should be a really straightforward skill, right? You're going to have a model of a skeleton mage, and he's just going to do cool stuff. But it took us a long time to really find the right spot, the right expression for that skill in the kit, like as a pet, making it different than all of your other pets, giving you a reason to pick it. But then there's also just the unspoken cool factor that makes a pet what it is. You know, if you click that button and what comes out of the ground doesn't feel awesome immediately, then it kind of doesn't matter what it does anymore. So it took us a good 3-4 months of trying different expressions, different skeletons, different things. And finally, what made it work was we just took a trip over to the character artist area and talked to Aaron Gaines, who's a character artist on the team. And he just gave us like a really cool looking skeleton mage. And that set the tone for the way the whole rest of that skill worked.
Awesome. Jane, can you tell us about one of your favorite skills to work on?
Well, I came to the team pretty new, and I had was ramping up, so I didn't work on a ton of skills, but my favorite one was probably Bone Spirit, which it went through a lot of, it was my favorite skill because it taught me a lot. I learned the tools on it, and it went through a lot of iterations. And it taught me how to be on the team. Wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
So behind the desk.
Jane came to the team kind of late. We were about halfway through our efforts of building the Necromancer, and it started to become clear that we were going to need a little bit more horsepower and a little bit more oomph behind the team. There's a lot of work that goes into building a class. So when she showed up, it was like, well, what's kind of left? You know, people sort of like cherry picked the stuff that they wanted, and the opportunity there for Bone Spirit was that it was also a skill that we decided on late in the process. So we originally weren't going to add it, and so suddenly here's this marquee skill. It's super iconic, you know, from D2, and everybody wants to work on it, but we give it to Jane. Jane gets to work on it, and I think it came out really awesome.
It was super challenging. For the longest time, it was just a T-pose skeleton just targeting all the enemies. It's kind of funny. But yeah, over time, a lot of iteration, it kind of came to what it is now.
Excellent. Some of the other skills that I know was kind of challenging for you guys, you had some back and forth on curses for a while, specifically like the visibility of them. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so there's just a general problem with making effects for a game like Diablo, in that there's a lot of stuff that can be going on at once, and you want to be able to tell the difference between, as a class, your stuff from other people's stuff. You also need to tell the difference between your stuff and what monster stuff is going on, right? You need to be able to kind of figure that out, and you have to be able to do that in a really short period of time. So with curses, one of the things that we wanted to do was kind of improve from D2 to D3 the actual visibility of the area. In D2, you would cast a curse, and you kind of weren't too sure about who was going to get hit by it or who wasn't. So that led to really playing up the sort of an area on the ground and creating a much more distinguished space so the player could really understand it. And then we had a problem with, well, once somebody's cursed, once a monster's cursed, you need to know who's cursed and be able to track that, during the combat. So that we put like an icon over the character's head, and that's where we ran into some challenges.
Yeah, I remember. So we had 3 different curses, and we had to figure out a way to make sure that they were all readable. So we went through a bunch of iterations of putting the whole curse on there, of all the different ones, and then we ended up having three different for each curse, and then they would be able to layer on top of each other. So it was easily readable from the camera.
And it looks really good in game. Like, it's very clear what curses are on which enemy, just at a quick glance, which is great.
And I think we actually ended up desaturating them too, didn't we?
Yeah, we went through a lot of different changes. One, the natural instinct is to make each one of the pieces match all of the other colors of the curse itself so that you can understand the relationship. But when we got all 3 of them together in a tight space like that, it started to look a little clownish, you know? It was a little bit of a rainbow. And so we decided to kind of pull back on the color just so that it didn't feel too happy. It's a necromancer. It should feel happy.
Yeah. They're not the happy-go-lucky class.
No.
Sanctuary. So let's talk about, similar to that, you know, we're talking about visibility, readability. Diablo 3 is a very active game where there's a lot going on the screen at pretty much all points in time. How do you make sure that the skills that you guys are working on are able to be easily seen and understood?
It starts off with a conversation between us and the designers. You know, if the designer comes to us and he says, hey, could you make me a nuclear blast that fills the whole screen? Sure, we can do that. But then if he says, well, but I want to be able to like rapid fire it all the time, our job is to say, well, you can't have a nuclear blast for that. We can't fill the whole screen with a skill that you're going to use that much, or no one will be able to see anything. So what we really want to find out is what's the fantasy, what's the usage going to be like, how are players going to be able to break this later on with legendaries? Like, are they going to be able to turn that speed up or whatever? And then with that discussion, we try to just negotiate where we think the best expression of the fantasy is going to be. And that solves a lot of the readability problems. And then after that, there's discussions like, well, what kind of damage type? It's important for the player to be able to understand, like get a clear sense of the damage that they're doing, the type that it is, and have that stuff be clear. And once you get all that kind of worked out, then you've done sort of the lion's share of the work in terms of making sure.
All right, welcome back. I gotta come clean. I paid Rachel to throw it to a Diablo 3 panel. I know. I mean, come on, I gotta get my D3 in here however I can.
He's addicted, but it's okay because we all want to know about D3.
I know.
That was he was freaking out back here.
Look, don't worry. We're going to get to the Overwatch What's Next panel. I just wanted to slip it in. I was so geeking out. I mean, the fact that they were talking about one of the designer's favorite skills was the skeletal mage, which is one of my go-to skills. And talking about the concept of how do you come up with a skeletal mage that when it pops out of the ground, you're like, I'm glad I popped that out of the ground. Because if that's not cool coming out of the ground, people are going to be like, oh, that's what it looks like? Man, and it's so true. Diablo 3 is, that like perfectly encapsulates how hard it must be to design Diablo 3 soup to nuts. Because if any skill doesn't feel awesome the first time you try it, you're
then
like,
I don't want to do it anymore, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just, oh, I'm just throwing a knife.
Yeah, like, I mean, when I was playing, like, my Witch Doctor, it'd be like that. I'm like, you know, I was doing spiders for a bit, but then you want to change for a little while. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It works.
All right, well, listen, Hearthstone senior game designer Dave Kozak will be coming up with us shortly, so please tweet us your questions right now for him using the hashtag BlizzCon, as it were.
And now it is actually time to toss to that Overwatch.
I mean, I want to see that, too. I want to see that, too.
We want to see it. So, guys, check it out right now.
Say the looking at that clip, it was very apparent Australia need to be very mindful of their surroundings here because they allowed Joe Meister to be able to make that play. They should have advanced a little bit further, and they were a little paranoid about maintaining control around the payload. So you gotta talk to your boys over there surrounding.
Oh, definitely do. let Joe Meister around the corner get 30% just to get his trans element. That was something that was just game breaking right there.
Yeah, awesome stuff though, really from both teams across the board, and still we have so much more to come. But we do want to remind you guys once again about our friends over at T-Mobile. That's right, guys. You can vote for the MVP if you're in the Twitch chat. We see people actually, you don't need to tweet me, by the way. You don't need to tweet me with the T-Mobile thing. You just do it on your own, okay? Because my timeline's kind of blowing up right now. So very easy. All you got to do is use exclamation mark T-Mobile battle tag on Twitter, hashtag T-Mobile MVP battle tag. You already get it. I've said it quite a few now. If you haven't caught on quite yet, we have a problem. But don't worry, because I'll get you more throughout the show. So it's perfectly fine there. Big thank you to T-Mobile for supporting the 2017 Overwatch World Cup. But while we are talking about this matchup between Australia and Canada, coming up next, we have a team that is going to take this stage that has had one goal on their mind: become the Overwatch World Cup champions, defeat South Korea. This is China.
Here we are in Shanghai. We've got the Chinese home team crowd. They want to see China win.
Individually, those might not be the very best players of the whole of China, but if you combine them in a group, this is the best team China can possibly produce.
就虽然他们是难以战胜的，但是我觉得我们够强，我很有信心击败法国队。
Oh, that is brutal. China. China's just been so...
Oh. All right, hello BlizzCon, what's up? How's everyone doing? All right, everyone check out opening ceremony, saw all of the new stuff we're gonna be talking about today. Obviously, we have new hero, Moira. Yeah. We've got a new map, Blizzard World. That'll be fun to talk about. And, you know, maybe a couple surprises. Ooh. So I thought we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so we'll start off, get right into it. I am Michael Chu. I am the lead writer on Overwatch.
He deserves it. Hi, everybody. I'm Arnold Sang. I'm Arnold Sang, and I'm the assistant art director on Overwatch.
I'm Jeff Goodman, the lead hero designer on Overwatch.
I'm Aaron Keller. I'm the assistant game director.
All right, so let's get started. Obviously, in opening ceremonies today, you got to see a little short video of Moira in action. Maybe some of you have had a chance to check her out on the floor. But Jeff promised, he said we had a little video for you in case maybe you had some questions about her story, who this character, who Moira is. So let's check it out.
We stand on the brink of a breakthrough in human evolution. I have dedicated my life to unraveling its secrets. I take risks that others would consider to be unwise, for I do not share their caution. Overwatch held back the pace of scientific discovery for decades. They believed my methods were too radical, too controversial, and they tried to silence me. But there were others in the shadows, searching for ways to circumvent their rules. Freed from my shackles, the pace of our research hastened. Together, we delved deeper into those areas forbidden by law, by morality, and by fear. New patrons emerged who possessed an appetite for my discoveries. And with this knowledge, what new world could we build?
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I got some chills there. When I hear that voice, I start getting a little nervous. Probably because I've been victimized by her a little bit in playtest. So the question obviously is, who is Moira? Well, most importantly, Moira is that new support healer character that you've been waiting for. Now, just to get into her story a little bit, you know, what I think is really interesting about Moira is she is a scientist, and obviously we have a lot of scientists in the cast already, and she is a little different because some of the other scientists are more interested in like creating inventions or I think it's supposed to have some
conquering the world.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Moira is a scientist. She's not so much interested in conquering the world, even though she has she's allied herself with people who might have proclivities in that direction. She's really just into the actual science. She wants to understand the fundamentals of human life and how they can be manipulated. She is a geneticist, and that is her primary goal, and that's all she wants. But the thing is that the thing that makes her villainous is that she doesn't quite have like some of the morals that the rest of us are.
Very flexible.
She's very flexible. You know, she doesn't want anything to get in the way of her science. So when someone tries to stop her from doing something or tells her that she needs to take more time, she has no patience for that. She wants to plow forward and find out these discoveries and make, you know, these new inventions to figure out how humans are hardwired. So the really interesting thing about her is that when we created Moira, we wanted her to have all these connections to characters throughout Overwatch history through different groups. So like we said before, she was recruited by Gabriel Reyes to be a member of Blackwatch. And during that time, she had relationships with the Blackwatch crew, McCree, Genji. They all have their own sort of likes and dislikes for each other. Reyes wanted someone who could help advise him on some matters of genetics that he was interested in, shall we say. And then
very mysterious.
Very mysterious, yes. Almost maybe a connection there. Yes, there's a connection there, obviously. And the other thing is that in the present day, Moira has allied herself with Talon now that Overwatch is gone. When you think about Moira's goals, figuring out these building blocks of you know, human evolution and her need to like push forward science at any cost, it really meshes well with the goal of Talon. And so she has found new patrons like Doomfist. So that's sort of the story background of Moira, and I'm going to hand it over to Arnold now so he can talk a little bit about the development of her art.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. So it's always interesting to think back on the ideation of a hero. You know, how do we start? We get that question a lot. And with Moira, it was a little bit of gameplay and a little bit of story. We heard your feedback. You guys wanted a new healer in the game. We felt the same way.
Totally.
Jeff felt the same way. So we really started there. And we have a lot of benevolent healers in the game. We have an angel. We have a monk, mother, and the most upbeat, like positive DJ that you've ever met. So we felt like it was time for something a little bit more morally ambiguous, a little bit more shady. So we started there, and we started with these concepts. And already right away, you can kind of see Moira there. There's that immediate kind of like androgynous face, that mysterious appeal that she had. So we really gravitated towards these concepts. We started with the one on the right, actually, with all the crazy tentacles, and everybody really liked that concept.
I thought it was cool, but I was like, I don't know how I'm going to use these tentacles. That looks neat.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one thing for it to be a very unique and cool silhouette, but it's another thing to wrap like gameplay around that, right? You really want someone that has tentacles to have abilities that might reflect those, those visuals. So we tried something a little bit more conventional. We tried, okay, maybe we'll just give her something a little bit more toned down. Maybe like a giant two-handed spray cannon. This is where we kind of started to layer in the science vibe to it. You can see some of those tubes starting to get in there. But it started to look a little, I don't know, maybe it might be confused with Zarya on the battlefield with that same silhouette. So we wanted to come up with something different. We took a step back, did a few thumbnails to really dive deep into what kind of weapons does Moira use, for healing, for damaging her opponent. And we tried a couple things. Ultimately, there's a couple things from these concepts that we really liked. And on the one on the far left, you'll see that that character already kind of has Moira's outfit there. We really like that silhouette and that dark vibe that really spoke to like a Talon character or someone from Blackwatch. We tried that same red-haired, long, kind of like gaunt face on the second from the left, from the right, and we still really like that that version of Moira. And then there was something on that far right concept that we really liked as well. And if you guys remember last year when we announced Sombra, we showed some of her early concept art. One of those was called the Omni Blade, who later became Hanzo and Genji. But she had these like big sleeves with like these throwing daggers. So this was my way of kind of getting
that in there.
Trying to get the throwing dagger back into the game. But we really like the big sleeves. And I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but she's got the purple syringes on one side and she's got this yellow energy on the other side. So that kind of kick-started the idea of this duality between her left and right hand. So taking those elements, we kind of meshed them all together to come up with the final concept for Moira. we integrated all the elements from the concepts, the thumbnails that we just showed, and started to really kick up the more science apparatus vibe. Now we started coming up with the idea of what if she's got the healing and the damage, and what if the tubes actually had this liquid that would change color when she used those different abilities. So we tried to work that into the game. We even tried a couple of different hairstyles, but we ultimately we really like the red hair on her.
The tubes are actually a great touch because our gameplay is draining people of their energy and feeding it sort of as healing to your allies. And you can actually see when that happens, the tubes actually change colors. Like it's actually directly converting the energy over to healing. It's an awesome touch.
And speaking of which, one of the things that really helped us flesh out that idea is because it's a first-person game, you're going to be seeing her hands a lot. This is one of the only heroes that shows both of her hands on the screen, like Zenyatta, like Doomfist. So her hands are everything. Those are her weapons, and we wanted to explore how she could express herself, deal damage, and heal. And the animators did a really great job at, you'll notice when you play her, when she's healing, it's this soothing motion where she's like, there, you're all right. But then when she's using her decay move, she's really just grasping at you and clawing at you and trying to drain your energy. So this is a concept from our senior concept artist, Ben Zhang, and he really knocked it out of the park to get that duality in there. And there might even be a little bit of story behind why that hand is like that.
Yeah, how did her hand get messed up? Was it perhaps close proximity to another sort of genetic anomaly or experimentation? Hard to say. Hard to say. I actually do remember that, changing the subject, that when we were really dialing the animations for the hands, we were really concerned with how that felt. It's not that she's out of control when she's using that power.
Right,
she's 100% in command of it, and so she's really just that's how she shows her mastery.
It's very aggressive, just clawing and pulling. Really like the idea of this leech hero.
Yeah.
She was, that life-sucking kind of vibe for her. Another thing we like to do on the concept side is figure out some movement studies, we like to call them. These are sketches we like to do for figuring out both abilities, the VFX, the poses for animation. These are some early sketches for her ultimate ability, Coalescence. One of the initial ideas, she had all of her liquid kind of swirling around her.
Yeah, the original thing was, her original ult was all of her abilities would cool down a lot faster, or have no cooldown, and she would kind of be in hyper mode. And she also had this kind of beam attack that was kind of there also, and then we ended up kind of just all-ending on the beam attack. It was kind of the coolest part of the whole thing, so we kind of tweaked it as we went.
Yeah, so those are some of the concepts behind Moira, but it wouldn't really be a new hero announcement if we didn't show some awesome skins.
That's right.
So this is the first one for Moira. This one's called Oasis. She actually has a kind of a connection with Oasis, doesn't she?
Yeah, so currently, in addition to her duties as a scientist for Talon, Moira was also invited by the ministers of Oasis to become their Minister of Genetics. And so she is basically leading up their genetics research at the city. And this is, I guess, what she'd wear when she's over there.
Yeah. This one's also done by our concept artist, Ben Zhang, and he did the concept for the Oasis Symmetra as well, and we really love those visuals, and we couldn't wait to use it on another hero, and Moira seemed like the perfect fit. And the next one, my personal favorite.
So good. So good.
Yeah. This one we're calling Glam, and it's a tribute to glam rock from the 70s, where they wear these outrageous outfits, crazy makeup, super psychedelic colors, and the hairstyles were just out of control.
I love the lava lamp too. It's a nice touch.
Yeah. Instead of the science liquor, she's got the lava lamp kind of effect on there. So this one's one of my favorites. But I'm sure you guys want to know more about her gameplay and how she works. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Jeff.
All right. So thanks, guys. So as we said, we were hearing you guys' feedback, and we were definitely feeling the same thing. We just need more healers in the game. So we started sort of thinking, what have we done? What would be really cool? What would work with other heroes? What was just a cool, fresh idea? So she actually, on paper, originally really started as actually having a ton of health and trying to leech health off of people, and then you should feed her own health to people. It ended up being sort of a balancing nightmare, because it's what if I don't heal people and I just leech forever and you can't ever kill me? It's all right, that's a problem. So actually the way she ends up kind of working is in the same vein. She's got sort of the same feel to it, but it doesn't quite have that same design to it. But I'll walk you through all the abilities so you can see how she kind of works together. So her weapon's called Biotic Grasp. There's a primary fire and a secondary fire to it. The primary fire we call Regeneration. It's this kind of just spray. It's kind of visually a little bit like Maze Blaster, but it actually pierces all your allies. So you can actually heal multiple allies at the same time and kind of a big cone in front of you. It actually has a ton of throughput. You can heal a lot with this thing. But the only reason it's not overpowered, hopefully, is there's a meter controlling it. And as you can see kind of in this video on the right side, as you're using it, it kind of drains slowly. And it kind of regenerates pretty slowly by itself over time. But if you actually are trying to heal more, which hopefully you are, you can't really wait for that. So then her second part of this comes into play, which is the alternate fire, which is called Decay. This is kind of her damaging hand. And this is where she's actually draining the enemies. It does actually still leech some health to her, so she's actually healing off of it. It's not a ton, but it's enough to sort of top yourself off and everything. That's great. But the biggest important thing is it fills up that meter really fast. So you're healing people, but you also need to take time whenever you can to try to leech energy off your enemies so you can feed it to your allies. It's very, it's a very evil way to heal. It's kind of very sinister. She doesn't care. It's worth it. Her first ability we call Fade. This ability is, she basically disappears completely. It's complete invisibility, kind of like Sombra, but it's instant. There's no delay or anything. And then she reappears. It's less than a second, super fast, but you also get an intense movement speed boost. So you can hit it and then like go around a corner really quick, and to the enemy, you're just completely gone. You don't even know where you went. You can see you don't even go like super far, but you know, if a Winston's jumping on you, you can just go, whoop, I'm back here now, and you know, keep healing, keep doing damage. It's great. You notice it has some similarities to Reaper's Wraith form, which is, it's funny how that works out.
You know, we obviously, there's a close relationship between Moira and Reyes/Reaper, and I think one of the fun things we were able to do is to sort of hint at some of those things in her ability.
It's like she's helping Reaper out and is like, you know, I think I can make this better. I have an idea.
Professional relationship.
Yes. Good call. Second,
you know what I'm talking about.
Second ability we call Biotic Orb. This also has two different modes, much like her primary and secondary fire, and it follows the same kind of pattern. So first thing you do when you hit this button, she pulls up those two orbs, and then represents the damage and the healing aspects. If you use the primary fire, you throw off the Orb of Regeneration, and that's sort of the yellow orb you see here. And these orbs can bounce around. They have like infinite bounces. They can bounce all over like a small area or off ceilings, stuff like that. And if they ever get near allies, it will slow down and start healing them automatically. It has only so much it can heal. It has like a contained amount of healing in it, and it shrinks over time as it feeds it to everybody. But it's a great way to AoE heal. It's also really good at like longer range, because her range isn't super long generally on her cone heal. So you can throw it like at a Pharah's really far away and try to get the save on her while you get close, you know, and be able to heal her with your primary fire. Or you could choose the alternate fire in this if you want to. They both share the same cooldown, so you have to pick which one you want. And the alternate fire is called Decay. Works basically exactly the same, it's just inverted. So you do damage to enemies. So it can also bounce around. This can be incredibly deadly in a small area where it's bouncing around a lot, especially because you can move and act freely while it's happening. So you can throw the orb into an area, chase somebody down, and start by grasping them, taking their damaging that way, and they're just taking a ton of damage all of a sudden. Kind of have to get out of there during that. But yeah,
I like to throw it into rooms and make my team run in there.
Yeah, yeah. That's always the
get out of here.
Like Genji, get.
Fetch.
Yeah, it's great. Now her ultimate ability is Coalescence. Now this is sort of the ultimate, like she's got this whole dichotomy thing going on. She's always got to choose if she's healing or doing damage. Her ultimate is just like, nope, I get to do everything all at the same time, and it's super long range, a really fat beam. She's kind of feeding both hands together and creating this beam that it heals allies that it's hitting and damages enemies that it's hitting. So you just want to hit everybody with it. In fact, in some maps we're playing, we get in this fight in these little corridors, and she's just like, I win. I don't care what's happening. Everything good is happening for me right now. So
is that the OPAF?
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll change the name for release.
Yeah, that's her last name. So there's also some other amazing properties to it. Since it pierces everything, it also includes barriers. So it pierces Reinhardt shields, Winston shields. So yeah, so it's hard to heal sometimes through those things. And you're just like, nope, I'm going to go through. And then Reinhardt's back there trying to protect his team. He's like, well, we can't really sit here anymore. I guess we have to move or something. And of course, if your team jumps in right afterwards, now they're getting healed by it also. So it's just this amazing sort of engage tool. Also, you can pick off those pesky Pharahs sometimes if you get them, if you wing them. So that's kind of a breakdown of how all the abilities work individually. We actually have a video to show you what it looks like when it's all put together.
We are bedeviled by the mysteries of creation. Science can reveal the truths that lie behind these many questions. What we learn can unlock the true potential of humanity. To the shadows. Tell me how this feels. Come to me and I will heal you. I will unmake you. Simple geometry.
Lights out.
Surrender to my will. Allow me to repair the damage. I feel unstoppable. My will made real.
Might have been something.
All right, so that was Moira, Overwatch's new support hero, and definitely go try her out now. Send us your feedback, even if it's just to tell us that yes, she is OPAF. But yeah, definitely let us know how you're liking her. But now to change tone, change subject a little bit, talk a little bit about the new map that we announced at opening ceremonies, Blizzard World. So. Hey, you can clap for it. It's exciting.
It's clap-worthy. It is very clap-worthy. This map is amazing.
So, I don't know if any of you were here at BlizzCon a couple of years ago, but I remember it well because I think it might have been my first time up here on the main stage, and I was sitting next to our creative director, Chris Metzen, and someone asked a question. And Chris decided that he wanted to talk about kind of a fun idea that we'd had, which was the idea of a Blizzard amusement park. And he kept asking me, like, hey, should I just say something? And I was shaking my head like, no, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Too far, Chris. But he went ahead and did it anyways. And so that idea has been in the back of our minds, like, pretty actively, honest, to be fair, for the last couple of years. And finally, we thought, wouldn't it be fun to actually go ahead and make that? And so we've taken this idea, a name, Blizzard World, and now we've made it into an entire park. And yeah, so.
Oh, right as they are talking about Blizzard World.
I still want to visit it.
And I want it to be a real thing, like a real live thing.
Yeah, of course. And Moira, can we talk about Moira?
Wow.
I want to be playing her right now. We haven't even gotten a chance to get onto the show floor and actually play her.
I love just the fact that her orb is able, her coalescence.
Yeah.
Just the way that's used to be able to heal and damage all at one time.
A giant heal damage pipe?
Fine with me.
Yeah,
I think
fine
I'll be
with
playing.
everybody.
It's going to be pretty good. All right, guys. Time now, though, to check in with Malik, who's with Ben over by the ML.
I'm joined by my good friend Andrews as well. I got Malik Forte here at Checkpoint, and I can't wait to break all things esports down with you. We've had a fantastic BlizzCon so far. Let's start with Overwatch. Yeah. Yesterday, me and you were talking. You had high hopes for England and the UK. What happened?
Mom spaghetti happened, man. They choked. They just straight up choked, man. They couldn't keep it going. And you know what? When you're playing in the arena that big, the crowd will get to you.
It's
true. Very intimidating. So.
Very true.
Yeah, and Sweden, they look really good. So
they do. Obviously, Sweden third here last year, looking to go maybe a little bit better. As it stands, Canada versus Australia. That's in a game 5, Malik. Me and you were just kind of screaming when we were watching that one, but the big game of the day, South Korea versus USA. I've got to ask you, USA's hopes?
I believe they're up there. This is the most confident I've seen a team going against South Korea B.
Okay.
Jake's walking around. He's popping off.
Okay.
A lot of the guys are feeling like they can do this.
I like it. I like it.
I'll be happy with one game, to be honest.
Just one?
I'll be happy with one game from USA.
Okay, I guess set your standards low, and then you can't really be too upset, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works. That's how it works. Okay. Moving forward now, we can talk a little bit about StarCraft. We've had some epic games. One just finished. It was Sue versus Gumio, an epic Game 5. Sue will progress, but that first game of the day, special with a 3-1 victory. Now we know that is going to be one of those games, Special versus Sue. Who do you see winning that one?
I think Special has a good chance. You know, Sue didn't look like himself in that last match.
True.
Either way, though, I'm kind of looking at innovation.
Yeah?
This is his tournament to win.
You sure?
Straight up. I feel like this is his tournament to win. If he does it, I'll be surprised.
Obviously, we'll see him in action a little bit later on in the day. That's going to be versus TY. That's, I believe, 5 p.m. Yeah. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Moving further forward now, we can take a look at the World of Warcraft groups and how things are kind of settled out there. Of course, in World of Warcraft, you get those 2 wins. You qualify for bracket play tomorrow. Splice and Method Triforce, they've already done that. And, I mean, the story in World of Warcraft, like, it's always, you know, Method Triforce going for a 3-peat. How insane is that?
It's pretty insane. Right now, the story of the tournament is who's going to beat Method Triforce.
Right.
And their biggest competition right now is Method Synergy, who's playing right now in a very close match. They're actually on the brink of elimination. So,
of course, speaking of Method Synergy, they're actually in Group B. And as you say, they're 1-0 right now. I think everyone kind of expected it to be a simple game. They're going up against Blank Esports. Their back is against the wall. I mean, you can see it right there. Yeah. They're 0-1. Blank Esports need that win, and somehow that series is tied at 1-1.
I'm saying.
Is that an upset, you think, coming?
It's a huge upset. Like I said, Method Synergy is the team that has the most likability to go against Method Triforce and beat them. They're the most likely to do it. So, I mean, we'll see.
Very true, very true. Moving forward, we've had plenty of Heroes of the Storm action. We'll take a look at how our bracket has come through. I want to say, I'm going to say, Malik, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think that's the biggest upset thus far here at BlizzCon.
That's the biggest one.
Expert 2-0 over Dignitas.
2-0.
No one saw that come in. Of course, MVP Black over Team Freedom. That one was a little more predictable.
It was very unpredictable. A lot of people were picking Team Dignitas as their favorite to win. A lot of people consider them the best European team.
True.
But they're out now. Yeah. So that side of the bracket is completely shaken up at this point. I don't even know. Maybe MVP Black is going to get it free now. They got Team Freedom who looks strong. Who knows, man?
Very true, very true. Of course, Fnatic in action up next. Moving on as well in our updates here over to the Hearthstone. Talk a little about some of the stuff we've had there. Obviously, it's a little different this year than it has been in the past. We were talking about it. It's great to actually go to a listening almost and actually hear the players talking. It's entertaining, right?
Yeah, you get to hear all the trade chat. You get to hear all the strategy from the pros. You get to hear how the prodigies, the guys who are up and coming, have some new ways that they implement their strategies into the game too, and that's really cool to hear.
And there's a look at your current standings as well. Jungle Giants 1-0, as are the Chillblade Crusaders. Obviously, we've gone through all of our esports right now, so I have to ask you, I know you've been chilling out at the All Access channel.
Yes.
How is this BlizzCon going for you?
It's been going great, man. I love that my job is the roving reporter because I get to go around and I get to check everything out.
Oh, you're so lucky, Malik.
I know. You're stuck here at the desk. I get to go around. I get to feel the atmosphere of everything. I was over in the Overwatch arena hearing everybody scream. Lucio's like actually hosting it, so it's cool to hear his voice reverberate through the arena. It's cool, man. And I'm going to be over there for the USA South Korea game later on.
That game is going to be fantastic, that's for sure. I am actually chained behind this desk, but it's okay because it's the best seat in the house. And sadly, that is going to do it for us. I want to thank you for everyone at All Access, and of course, massive thank you to Malik Forte for joining me on the desk. Remember, you can follow all 5 esports competitions right here at BlizzCon over at MLG Checkpoint. As you can see right now on your screens, we have plenty of action currently going on. With that said, I want to thank all my friends over at All Access, and that now concludes our AAC Esports update. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
You can only have Malik for so much time.
That's right.
We do want to see what he's been up to.
I know.
Oh man, esports. I mean, we're not even through the first day, and the esports has just been blowing up.
And we have a major upset already. The UK, which was undefeated, as they were saying, has been defeated now by Sweden for Overwatch World Cup. So that's definitely something that's going on. I just love hearing the updates of it. I'd like to later go back and watch the Hearthstone stuff because I love the fact that they've got a pro, a prodigy, and like a personality. I think that's the way they structured it on each team.
Well, but also being able to hear, that's the key. You nailed it right there. It's hearing them talk because I love Hearthstone.
Yeah.
But I'm not great at Hearthstone. And it's really funny to hear somebody who is a professional at Hearthstone telling you why to choose certain cards and why not.
Yeah.
Because I immediately go, yeah, I should not have ever played that card. I don't know what I'm doing. I so would have played this card because I'm chasing something that's I shouldn't even be chasing.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah,
That's the worst.
It is so bad, but that's constantly what I'm doing. But also, let's not, Team Dignitas is out.
Yeah, that's huge because that was a big favorite for a lot of people, and I think a lot of the fantasy scores out there, that players are going to be really upset because Dignitas just got knocked out of the HGC.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy. And, I mean, I can't believe that the Overwatch Arena is being hosted by actual Lucio.
It's very true.
That is so great. At some point, I've got to go over there and check that out.
Just be like, what's up, Lucio?
What's up? Say something cool. Anyway, all right. Well, right now, it's time to check in with Anna, who is standing by at the ASUS booth.
Thanks, guys. We spend so much time talking about these games that we love, but it's really important to remember that we need technology to play them. And to that end, we have Greg Checky here to talk to us from ASUS ROG. Hi, Greg.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Really, really good. And I am so excited to be chatting with you because ASUS is a very familiar face around here. Republic of Gamers, well known. You guys have been here for a while.
Yeah, so ROG has been coming to BlizzCon since 2008, so this is our 9th year. And this is actually my 2nd year, so I'm still kind of a BlizzCon noob, but it's a lot of fun,
And I was asking you a minute ago if you were going to be able to get out and play some games. You said you're probably going to be tied to the booth, huh?
Yeah, I'm kind of tied to the booth, but, you know, we've got the games going on here that I can play, so every once in a while I can sneak on and play some Overwatch if I want to, you know?
Yeah, you guys have lots of games going on. What's going on out here behind us right now?
Right, so we're trying to get big into esports, and so we want to give everyone here a little taste of esports. So we've got the esports desks here. People can wait in line and put their team together and play some Overwatch here on stage in front of everybody.
You mentioned esports, and I know you guys are also no strangers to esports. Tell me about that.
Yes, we've been sponsoring a lot of teams lately, and one of the most recent is NRG, and we've actually got a couple of NRG players here that hopefully we'll be able to meet up with a little bit later. But it's fun to have. It's fun to be in that industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, since we're here at the booth, should we head inside?
Yeah, why don't we go inside and show you some of the hardware we're showing off here.
Okay, awesome.
So if anybody wants to come down and play any Blizzard game, we've got a ton of systems in here, laptops and desktops. Anyone can come in and play whatever their favorite game is. But the laptop I want to show you is this one here. And this is one that we're extremely proud of. This is the G703. And this is kind of our latest desktop replacement laptop. It's a 17-inch. It's kind of big, but it's extremely powerful. It's our first laptop with a 144 hertz refresh rate screen, 32 gigs of RAM, you know, Core i7 and a GTX 1080. So it's a very powerful laptop and great to take to any LAN party.
So with all of those stats, how is that going to help us play our favorite games better?
Well, especially with Overwatch, the 144 hertz refresh rate is kind of the key thing here. Overwatch is a very fast-moving game with a lot going on, and with that refresh rate, it's like you're looking through a window. You don't get any jaggies or anything like that, especially since it's a G-Sync display.
Awesome. So if people want to play their favorite games, they should come check them out here at the ROG booth. There's also some more going on here, right?
Well, yeah, we're also doing a giveaway. I think all the booths have patches for everyone's backpacks, and I actually have one here. I can show you what we're giving away. We have some vending machines over by the guest services area, and you get a commemorative BlizzCon 2017 coin and also a couple of patches, ROG patch and a Blizzard patch for your backpack. And we're also giving away some additional prizes. If you get a special one of these, you can bring it here, get some ROG swag, and even we're giving away a laptop as well while we're here.
Oh, that's awesome. So people have lots of stuff to win, lots of giveaways to check out. Thank you so much, Greg, for your time.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming by to check out the booth.
I have so much more to see here on the BlizzCon show floor. So for now, back to you.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Thank you so much, Anna. By the way, ASUS, I don't know how to pronounce their name, but I love their products. I just got that 34-edge, the X34 Predator, the giant curved. I have to say, I'm a fan of the curved screens. I wasn't a fan until I got this monitor.
And now you're in?
Well, it's huge because even like playing Heroes, I see more of the map.
Yeah.
Although we didn't even talk, speaking of more of the map, we didn't even talk about the fact that they announced that Heroes, they're going to move the camera up and give you more of the map.
I know, there's all of that.
People went crazy when they announced that.
I think there's a lot of the 2018 gameplay stuff that's being changed too. And KO Milker is going to be coming here in a little bit, so we're going to be able to ask him a ton of those questions, which is going to be awesome.
I'm going to have a lot of questions for him about that, but we're really great to have partners like ASUS here with us. Speaking of which, now let's check in with Rachel, who's standing by at the T-Mobile booth.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the BlizzCon floor. Now I've taken you inside the Diva Den at the Razer booth. This is a really cool setup they've got here with a bunch of Razer product, but what they're really showing off is how Diva would game, and I love it, right down to the fuzzy chair. But they've got something really special for Overwatch fans here at BlizzCon. They've got a brand new headset that looks just like Diva's from in-game. Works just like a regular headset. It's got the mic inside and the audio. But that's not all. Diva is also known as one of the greatest StarCraft players of all time, so when they made the Diva mouse, they didn't make an Overwatch FPS mouse. They made the Abyssus StarCraft Pro mouse. This is what the guys on Team Liquid play with. We've also got a sweet Diva game mat that they've made, and it's a beautiful little setup here. I feel like if I lived in the Overwatch universe as a fan of Diva, this is the same kind of stuff I'd buy, because I've got this for MVP, for IM, and a whole bunch of StarCraft teams already. They also have a very nice webcam over here, and oh my God, what is this? That's so cute. There's a brand new headset with some ears on it. I love it, I love it. But overall, what Razer really brings us is gamer products by gamers and for gamers. So thank you guys. I love the Diva Den. I hope you guys come by and check it out.
Thank you so much, Rachel. A lot of cool stuff over at that T-Mobile booth.
Yeah,
I want a pink
absolutely.
room.
I'm gonna sit inside of the Diva booth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, guys, remember, if you have your cosplay pics, be sure to share them with us, especially if you're Diva after seeing that. We want to see them. Send us your photos on Twitter and Instagram using #BlizzCon. And don't forget to tag us, because at the end of the day, we're going to pick our favorites.
Yes, I think we've already gotten a couple. Check this out. Great Junkrat.
Oh,
That's
look
a pretty
at
hot
that.
Junkrat right there.
Kello FX, really quick Junkrat wig, he said. Greg is going Genji,
That's a Genji, McCree,
Reaper.
and Reaper, yeah.
Just, they said hanging out with no hostility.
Amazing. Beekeeper May. Is that if that's not a skin, that has to be a skin. I haven't seen it yet.
I wonder if there's real bees in there.
I hope not. I hope not. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh,
that's awesome. A lot of really great picks up there. Again, like just so everybody can really just see that amazing tweet from Reg_Reg, the no hostility.
Look, joining us now is Hearthstone senior game designer Dave Kozak. Dave, first off, where did you get that, and why can't we have them?
It's so real. It's so real. I feel like I can touch the Doom Hammer.
Whoa!
It's amazing. We rendered the Kobolds and Catacombs cinematic in glorious 3D.
You did.
So if you have red and blue glasses, I don't know why you would. If you have them at home for your Doctor Who cosplay, I guess. Yeah. Then you can see the cinematic in 3D at kobolds3d.com, and it feels like you're going. Kobolds3d.com. It feels like you're going down the tunnels. It's amazing.
I want to do that. Are you giving these away? Because I need to take a couple.
Yeah. No take candle.
No take.
You no take candle.
Thank you.
I love it. Well done.
Thank you for setting that up.
I love it.
Speaking of that, by the way, Kobolds and Catacombs.
Congratulations on the new expansion. It looks awesome.
We are so excited about it. We are really excited. I mean, it is like the fantasy, like the classic fantasy dungeon crawl, and we're bringing it to Hearthstone. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, speaking of that, by the way, just like you say, bringing it to Hearthstone, because you are somebody who worked on the World of Warcraft team for such a long time, and very beloved developer that everyone knows Fargo.
Thank you.
And you've moved over recently to Hearthstone for the Lich King expansion was your first one, right?
Right, Lich King expansion, that's right.
Right, so now like coming over and really kind of diving into this new experience and bringing Kobolds, what it was like for you coming from Warcraft.
Well, so the really fun part was on World of Warcraft, I was working on the artifacts for the Legion expansion, right? And I come over to Hearthstone, and we're doing legendary weapons for Hearthstone this time around. So I got to bring some of the artifacts with me.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's amazing.
Right. So we showed Alaneth at the panel. So Alaneth was the arcane mage staff in World of Warcraft Legion.
So kind of a new stat stick in a way.
New stat stick, and it talks to you in Hearthstone.
Does it really?
It totally does. Of
course it does.
The staff has a voice?
It does. Alaneth speaks to you in World of Warcraft, so of course he has to speak to you.
It is the most annoying, helpful person you can have when you're an arcane mage.
Yeah.
That's right.
So now the voice of Alaneth also sang the song for our cinematic.
Oh, get out of your own.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So cinematic's great.
So every class gets a legendary weapon.
Every class gets a legendary
like
weapon.
Alaneth, some of them aren't actually damage-dealing weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Some of them
buffs.
are caster weapons, and they're really specifically, you kind of build your deck around sort of what you do, like the Priest Legendary that we showed. It's the Dragon Soul, which if you're fans of World of Warcraft, you know the dragon, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you could just be summoning dragons left and right. It's glorious.
Summon a dragon, summon a dragon, summon a dragon.
Yeah. It's going to be my favorite. Yeah.
So, there's something about, I want to talk about dungeon runs, because I know, that's such a cool new feature. And the way we have it here is that you guys have 40 unique treasures.
That's right.
And 50 encounters.
Yeah, 48 different encounters. And every time you start a new dungeon run, it deals out a deck of 8 encounters for you. It builds the dungeon.
Amazing.
And it's 8 random encounters of escalating difficulty. So you never know what's around the corner. It just feels like it's like a dungeon,
cool.
like you're playing a tabletop game. You don't know what you're going to find, and that's what I think is so exciting about this
So
mode.
now you have to get through 8 bosses.
That's right.
And once you get through 8 bosses and you defeat all of them, what happens?
Well, we have a special card back if you can defeat the dungeon with all 9 classes.
With all 9
classes? Really difficult.
I was just about to say.
I don't think a lot of people are going to get that card back. That's a challenge. For people at home, that's a challenge. Because it's difficult. And you never, like I said, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You have to build a deck, but you kind of have to build a deck that's ready for anything because you don't know what bosses you're going to find.
Right.
Yeah. It's
And then
really good.
as you go down, you're acquiring cards to add to your deck, right?
Exactly.
And that's
you're
a new
building up a
mechanic.
deck. Yeah. It's great. It's entirely self-contained, so you don't need any cards to play. You can just come in and fresh. You'll start with 15 health and a relatively weak deck of 10 cards. That's all you start with. So the first boss is tricky, right?
Yeah.
Every time you beat a boss, you get to add cards to your deck, and you try and make choices to build out the really powerful deck. The most fun is that we have treasures that are exclusive to the dungeon run mode. These are cards, they're so bonkers, we would never print them as a collectible set. And they look
yeah, we've seen a couple,
you
they're
get
crazy.
to do mean things to the AI, and it's super fun. The gloves of mugging, where you just take cards out of their hand.
The gloves of mugging.
Gloves of mugging.
Such a good name.
I'm just going to grab cards from people. That's amazing.
Sorry, gloves of mugging.
Sorry,
Gloves
that's not my fault.
Right.
I put them in my
with all of
pouch
these
holding.
names? Who comes up with everything?
We just got a design team that just, I tell you, working on Hearthstone, it's like just distilling pure joy into a game.
Oh my God.
And
It's
it's
just so
much
fun.
fun. This expansion in particular, the whole team was just so engaged because everybody had either tabletop role-playing experience or classic computer RPGs. Just so much stories to bring to the table, and everybody wanted their favorite thing in there, you know?
Can you imagine a lot of card games kind of evolved from the tabletop era? So this sort of everybody working on the team has that experience.
Yeah, it does. Really, it was just a shared experience, and I think it just, the love comes across in everything, every card you play, the names that you love.
Comes through,
That's cinematic. We all just think it's just so wonderful, you know?
It was amazing. It brought me back to my childhood playing pen and paper D&D.
Yes.
And that's what it is.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's that same field. So on the show floor, what are people able to get their hands on today?
Yeah. So you can play the dungeon run. It's just a little subset. It's just a sample. Give them a taste, a little taste.
Yeah.
Little taste of the
They
dungeon run.
just see the candle in the back. They can't touch it.
Right. No touch.
No touch of the candle.
So you can play 3 encounters.
Yeah.
And then we cut you off. So it's like, it's just getting good. And then but so you get 3 encounters, and we kind of rigged it so in the full game, you play through 8 encounters, and you get a big treasure after every other one.
I got it.
In the demo, we'll give you a treasure after every one. So you really get to kind of feel like you really get to build something.
It's a real taste.
Yeah.
Treasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, it says here that there also, you guys have unidentified items. So how does that work?
Yeah, that was a big fantasy of I don't know, you're playing a video game, you find an item and you don't know what it does. It's a magic sword. Like, I'm going to swing it around. I want to see what it does, right? So we tried to figure out how do we get that mechanic in Hearthstone. So we have unidentified items. And it's a card you put in your deck. It's unidentified.
So even when you put it in your deck, it's unidentified.
Yeah, exactly. So the sample that we showed is the unidentified elixir. It's a priest card, and it gives a minion +2/+2.
Sure.
For
okay.
3 mana.
Okay.
And that's for sure. But it also does something else. You don't know what the something else is, right? And you don't find out until you're in the game. And when you draw the card, it shimmers and then it changes in your hand so you see what the actual elixir is.
Now, is it always positive, or could it be like deal 2 damage now to every single minion on the board?
Always positive. It's always something you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it kind of gets that fantasy of like it's loot and I get it. Yeah.
That's
no
good.
cursed items.
Yeah,
No curse, yeah.
We thought about that. Yeah.
Hands of giving.
Yeah.
Well, you got gloves of giving.
I know. I wanted the mugging.
one of the monkeys.
Now, I do have a really important question because it's something that Alex and I have talked a lot about with Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Is why there aren't candle heads for people to wear.
Yeah, I know you're talking about that.
We also think there should be candle beards because you do have candle beards.
We do have candle beard.
Candle beard,
everyone thought this expansion was going to be about pirates. No.
Oh, really?
No, it's about kobolds. But we have a kobold pirate.
Kobold pirate.
Yeah, so yeah, I did want to pass out like glowing candles at BlizzCon, but we did got
we
these.
did the 3D glasses.
Yeah, you got 3D
I'm just
candles.
saying, from the Abathur hat to the Pepe.
To the Pepe.
I think that the candle, take candle, would just go over quite well.
We're going to push hard for that.
Yeah.
Please do. I will wear it.
I also love the fact that you guys basically started with the idea. I mean, I don't mean to say that the kobolds are simple.
Don't let him hear you say that.
Don't let him hear that. But a simple idea, which is a kobold. And boy, did you take that to the extreme. You saw the fantasy mushroom kobolds that are they wade their way. So how was it in being able to take kobolds and put them into different environments and then going, how would that turn into it?
It was super fun, and we started to or what's the one thing you know about kobolds? Candles on their head.
Candles.
So we started putting candles everywhere. I mean, you see them in the art. There's candles all over the place. And I'm like, hey guys, at some point we're gonna take this candle joke too far.
Yeah, and
but
then everybody didn't.
You know what? You could take it a lot farther than you think. We went crazy for candles. It's out of control.
My God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is fantastic. It is fantastic.
I'm so glad you were able to come over to the booth today. I mean, I know you had a really busy schedule.
Yeah. Well, BlizzCon is huge this year.
Yeah.
It's really out of control. It's so big, they had to build extra just for Hearthstone. We were just so huge.
That's amazing.
It's also nice to interview you, by the way, without your glasses for the first time.
Yeah, I got the
Congrats.
LASIK. I got the LASIK.
But you still do have your
I do have
Kobold
3D.
glasses. What's the website
I
again
can
for
see
it?
in 3D. Kobolds3D.com.
Kobolds3D.com. All right, Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Right now, it's time to check in with Anna, who's standing by in Mythic Hall. Anna, what's up?
Hey, Michelle, thanks so much. I'm stoked to be back here in Mythic. I've had an amazing day traversing BlizzCon, and I've just met my new friend here, Tyler. Tyler, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
You look fantastic. We, of course, noticed your cosplay. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
Well, thank you very much. As you can see, I'm cosplaying Alexei Stukov from StarCraft, one of my favorite characters in the co-op mode, so I decided I'd give it a try. My first attempt at cosplay.
Is StarCraft your game of choice?
Yes, it is.
And why is Stukov your favorite? Why did you choose to do him?
I like that he's a mix between human and alien, so I've kind of got a little bit of both going on. I enjoy doing the blending of normal Earth Commander versus horrifying Zerg monster.
I like that too, yeah. Tell us a little bit about cosplay. Have you done much before?
You know, this is actually my first attempt at cosplay. I've never done it before.
Really? Your very first? So what were some of the techniques that you used? What did you find and what did you make?
Well, I went to a lot of thrift stores, Goodwill, things like that, and I found this really nice jacket, which it was almost perfect. It's exactly like the one he wears. And for the last month or so, once I got off work, I pretty much just went home in the garage and started working on this.
That's awesome, because I know a lot of people think, oh, I'd love to cosplay at BlizzCon, but it seems so difficult. I'm not really sure how to do it. So what advice would you have for those people? Where to start?
I'd say just dive right into it. If you have any free time at all, just jump in. If you're going to make mistakes, you'll make mistakes and you'll learn from them, and you'll get better as it goes on.
That's great advice. And tell me a little bit about your first year at BlizzCon cosplaying. Has it been different? Have people come up to you and wanted pictures and things?
Yes, they have. It's been very strange because I've never, done anything like this and costume been the center of attention. I've usually just been in a normal civilian.
Well, you don't look like a civilian to me, and I will let you get back to those pictures. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, go ahead and head off that way to more photos and more fans. And guys, we're here in Mythic Hall because it's time for the World of Warcraft Deep Dive panel. And I know so many of you are excited about this because I heard you screaming during the opening ceremony. So let's get into that panel right about now.
Welcome to the World of Warcraft Gameplay and Systems Deep Dive panel.
Hey everybody. Welcome to the World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth Systems Deep Dive. My name is Matt Goss. I am one of the designers on the World of Warcraft team. Today on stage I'm joined by two of my fellow designers, Jeremy Fiesel and Russ Peterson. So what we're going to run you through today, so Russ is going to run you through the Heart of Azeroth. and the effects that it has on armor that you're going to find in Zandalar and Kultiris. Then I'll take us to the front lines of Warfronts, where we'll get to see how the big war is taking place on the homeland. Then I'll talk a little bit about some social features that we're adding that we haven't quite talked about at all yet. But first, helping us navigate the waters of Island Expeditions, Jeremy Fiesel.
All right, Island Expeditions, or as we've just been calling them, Islands. This is a new piece of small group content in Battle for Azeroth. We weren't going to send you across the sea to find new allies without stopping every once in a while to do some good old-fashioned looting and plundering of uncharted lands. But before we start talking about Island Expeditions, or the Heart of Azeroth, or even Warfronts, we should start by talking a little bit more about this substance Azerite. The assault from the Legion has grievously wounded our planet, and cracks are occurring all across her surface. She's hemorrhaging her lifeblood, and it looks like this sort of gold-blue substance that you see behind me. As it emerges, it crystallizes into these thrumming spires filled with power that reach towards the sky. There's incredible power inherent with the blood of Azeroth, which we're calling Azerite. But for the Alliance and the Horde, this is a little bit like being the first group to discover plutonium. While incredibly powerful, we're not entirely sure what all it can do. And some of those mysteries you'll be exploring in Battle for Azeroth. But what both sides do know is that it has the power to be incredibly destructive. And whichever faction has the most of this stuff in their coffers when Warfronts break out is definitely going to have the upper hand. Now, the gnomes and the goblins aren't just going to let this awesome new source of power show up without immediately developing some technology that will allow us to pinpoint where these hemorrhages are locating or showing up all across Azeroth. So they're going to give you some maps showing uncharted islands off in the Great Sea that are filled with Azerite. As luck would have it, we've just made friends with the two groups that have the most powerful navies in the world, the Kultirans and the Zandalari. So you're gonna log in and head down to the docks of your brand new hub city of Boralis for the Alliance, and Zuldazar for the Horde, and there you'll be conscripted by the Alliance to head off on an adventure. You're gonna take one of their fastest ships and try to gather as much of that Azerite as you can. Of course, once you arrive on the island, you won't find that it's necessarily undefended. This giant crab that we see here is not a friendly crab. The denizens of the island will fight hard for the Azerite that they've already collected, because really every creature is drawn to this magical substance, even though they don't quite know why. So that was a little bit of the story behind your island expedition. Let's get down into some of the details. Island expeditions are 3-player scenarios, and they're role agnostic. This is something that we want to really play with this time around. If you want to bring in 3 tanks or 3 healers, we definitely want to support that. And we've learned a lot about individual class-based gameplay and rare spawn gameplay and world quest gameplay throughout the last couple of expansions. All of that knowledge we're applying here to give you an awesome experience no matter what group you come in with. They're intended to take about 15 to 20 minutes, and being role agnostic, you'll also have a relatively rapid queue. That means that just about any time of the day, you can hop in, queue up, and knock one of these out and grab some Azerite. And last but not least, the major goal here, of course, is to obtain Azerite, to fill up the hull of your ship and leave victorious with Azerite for your faction, but also some for yourself. Gaining Azerite comes in a wide variety of different sources. You can find it on Azerite nodes or seams. Creatures have been collecting it and gathering it up into chests, baskets, and bags. Like I said, everything's kind of drawn to it a little bit, and they don't want to let it go. It has this inherent power. You will fight creatures infused with Azerite. You'll save quest givers who have been collecting Azerite. And of course, you'll be fighting powerful bosses and taking their huge hordes of Azerite. And also much, much more, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Really, one of the prevailing design philosophies behind Island Expeditions is something that we're calling dynamic replayability. And I could describe that in a whole bunch of words, but it's going to be way more fun if I show you with pictures. All right, so imagine you and your friends queue up for an island expedition, and you arrive on this sort of idyllic tropical landscape. It's nice, you know, looks kind of like what you would expect an island to look like. It's the middle of the day, it's a pretty day. And today, you find the island is inhabited by a couple of Hosen sitting next to a chest filled with Azerite. To the left of them, you see a giant Azerite-encrusted starfish. Of course, you can pick up the starfish and fling it at any enemy to disorient them and let you do extra damage to them for a little while. There's a couple of ambient crabs wandering around on the shoreline, and in the back right there, you see a creepy-looking Hosen shrine. If you click on that shrine, it will give you a powerful buff, but every shrine buff also comes with a detriment, and you can't remove it until its duration expires. So you have to be sure that you want to really opt in to that gameplay, that extra difficulty. In this particular case, this shrine makes you do extra damage, but reduces your armor. In the back left, you see a very large crab that we saw earlier, who is guarding a huge spire of Azerite. And as you can imagine, he's going to be one of the more powerful foes in the sort of scene that we created here. So what did we just craft? Really, what we've created is a puzzle. There is an optimal way to play through this scenario. So what do you think you would do? You would probably kill the Hosen, you would take their chest, grab the starfish, maybe go to the shrine at that point, you would starfish the crab, which is a weird phrase to say, and then while he's disoriented, do a bunch of extra damage to him, maybe even killing him before he can hit you, so the debuff sort of portion of that shrine never even gets realized. And then you take his big chunk of Azerite. Super cool, right? We solved this puzzle, we tactically worked our way through the game, and we found the most efficient path through this particular chunk of the island. Now imagine that you and your friends finished this island, you did great, you were victorious, and you queue up again. The second time you come to the island, it looks like this. Okay, same island, a little bit different time of day, it's pretty, it's dusk. And this time, a Sarok rare spawn and their band of Sarok have taken over the camp, slain the Hosen, taken their chest, and that particular rare spawn is worth a huge amount of Azerite. You'll notice that the starfish is now giant clams, of which there are 2. You can pick up one of those clams and fling it at an enemy to stun them. The shrine is in a different location, and it's a different shrine. And the turtles, or sorry, the crabs, rather, are a family of turtles now, in the very back right over there, who were crafted with some turtle eggs that you can click on to get an instantaneous heal. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Imagine that the third time that you queue up for the day, it is instead a dark and stormy night. Mogu necromancers have arrived on the back of powerful thundering cloud serpents, have taken over the entire island. All of the shrines are now cursed shrines. They do additional damage, but with a significant additional detriment. The Mogu have also opened up this portal that you see in the back right there to a Mogu Necrolord's crypt, 1,000 yards beneath the surface of Azeroth. And if you go walk into that portal, you will port down into that crypt, and one of the passages through it will be open for you to defeat the boss at the end and gain their Azerite. So what did we really just show you here? Every time you come to this space, the puzzle is different. The creatures are in different locations. The Azerite is in different quantities and different spots. There are additional gameplay elements scattered throughout the world, and it's always a little bit different. All of these things are what you might call procedurally generated on the island space, so that every time you come here, you will find different creatures in different organizations with different amounts of Azerite. You might find capture points that allow you to take over some long abandoned cannons on the side of a ship that give you a powerful extra ability on this particular island. You'll find chests and Azerite nodes of all kinds of different quantities, scattered everywhere, but always in a different combination, and different quest givers, consumables, shrines. Every island has at least 4 start locations. Every time we make a cave, it can be a different cave of a huge number of different possible caves. Pirates can show up in the middle of the island on great giant ships that you can then board and go down into and take their Azerite. But we don't necessarily want to call this procedural generation. That harkens back to a world where maybe we would have a Hosen next to a Sarok, next to a Mogu, and it wouldn't tell a cohesive story. In all of those pictures we just showed you, really what we started with was telling a story, and then we generated the world afterwards. It's a little bit like going on an adventure and just filling in the blanks. We landed on a tropical island in the middle of the night, and it was inhabited by Mogu necromancers. We define what that story is for your island, and then we generate it for you in a way that always feels different. You're never sure where the next tactical location of Azerite is going to be located at. And that means that every time you come to this space, it's going to really get to that feeling of exploring uncharted lands and new territories that we want to get for the Battle for Azeroth. However, something Ian mentioned earlier, both the gnomes and the goblins have developed the technology to pinpoint these major sources of Azerite. So shortly after you arrive on this island, so will the other faction. You'll be facing off against 3 champions of the other team who are going after all of the same resources you are, and they just might defeat one of those bosses or snag one of those chunks of Azerite right out from under your nose. This provides a real time pressure to make those tactical decisions and play that puzzle efficiently that we think adds the icing to the cake of this system. We also really want to play around with the concept of those faction champions. If you're the Alliance, you want to face off against a real group of Horde that feel like fun characters from that faction. You might be facing off against this group, the Spirits of Vengeance, a group of Darkspear loyalists who are out for vengeance for Vol'jin. They have a Shadow Hunter, a Witch Doctor, and a Berserker, exactly as you would expect from a group of powerful trolls. For the Horde, you might be facing off against the Wolf Pack, a group of Worgen out for vengeance for Gen Greymane, who are really good at sniffing you out. I know, terrible. But you might be thinking to me, okay, I've been playing this game for like a decade at this point. If I fireball this big Magnaron right here, I know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to run right up to me, and he's going to punch me in the face. And then if I run really far away from him, he might run back to his spawn point. So you, game designer, I'm going to beat you at your own game, and I'm going to drag all of these NPCs off into a corner while the rest of my allies go and take over the island. That's an interesting problem. And spawning up a world where different resources can show up just about anywhere presents a lot of interesting problems for World of Warcraft AI. So what are the problems that we want to solve here? Well, first, we'd want to face off against foes that really had tactical ability usage. You'd want foes that would be able to get into a defensive formation sometimes. Maybe polymorph you, maybe sap your healer, and steal one of those Azerite nodes right out from under you. If you're approaching an enemy rogue that is already in combat with a boss, it'd be really cool if sometimes he blinded the boss and attacked you, sometimes he blinded you and attacked the boss, and sometimes he vanishes to reconvene with his allies and come back later. Secondly, it would be awesome if all 3 of these had an intrinsic sense of the map objectives, if they would understand where the powerful creatures were, the major risk-reward moments, where the big chunks of Azerite were. That provides really an extra tension that you want when the creature is also going after the really important things while you're going after it. The end result of both of these is AI that can make strategic decisions. They can decide whether or not they want to stick in combat or leave combat. You'll finally face off against an AI that every once in a while will polymorph you, mount up, and just leave because he's got better things to do. That's also one of the really fun parts.
Welcome back, everybody. If you want to continue watching the WoW Gameplay Deep Dive, just click on the Live tab in the Watch box.
All right, guys, and joining us now is the returning returning host of Community Night. He's our good friend, Chris Hardwick.
Hello.
Hey, Chris
It's very
Hardwick.
nice to be here.
It's nice to have you here.
It's a nice set, right?
I wasn't sure if I was going to come back because I hosted in 2014.
My first year.
And I didn't blow it.
Nope.
And it went okay.
That's good.
And I left and I was like, I did it. I don't need to. I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to screw it up. And so they kept going, do you want to host? And I was like, no. I did it. I don't want to. And then this year, I'd been away for a few years, and I was like, okay, I'll come back. I got to do it. I got to do it.
Well, we're happy to have you.
I've been watching the announcements for as much of the day as I could. There's a lot of super fun stuff.
Yeah, what are you kind of attracted to as you watch the opening announcements?
I mean, WoW Classic looks pretty fun. I played.
Crazy, right?
I played. It's funny to think that I played World of Warcraft on CD-ROM before a lot of people who are watching this were alive.
Yeah.
But
thank you for that, Chris.
I still need to get like as a text tone, like a ready to work. Like I need to get that as a text tone.
Zug zug.
Yeah, zug zug.
That's our Warcraft 3, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to be. I just sleep under trees.
Oh, the Alliance! Like all those. It's really fun. But yeah, so I'm excited to be back, and the show looks really incredible this year.
Well, it's huge because if you were here 2014, it is now, as they've told me, it is now 1.2 million square feet.
Damn.
Of action. They added a whole other hall. They literally built a hall for this.
It's such an amazing community because, whether like with E3 or Comic-Con, it's like a tapestry of a million different things. But to have a community that's this focused on the various Blizzard, I mean, it's like everyone's in the same conversation.
Yeah.
So
it's actually interesting
really
to hear your
nice.
perspective on that because, I mean, you're really obviously entrenched with the nerd community.
Sure.
So, like, I mean,
I've been around it for a while.
You've been around it for a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean,
2 decades.
you.
That's right. You're there. We'll get you there.
But you've seen communities be toxic, be not get along. You've seen different kinds of communities. So what do you think makes the Blizzard community so different in that it creates positive experiences?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's because of an event like this. I mean, part of why communities can become toxic is because people are anonymous. And obviously you can play anonymously. However, there's a real world experience with Blizzard that people see each other here and they're accountable to one another. And then you come to an event like this and you realize like, oh, we're all people. We're not just avatars and text and and characters. We're actually human beings. And so I think that that makes us communicate more like human beings are intended to communicate and not like weaponize our anonymity.
I think you're right because it is sort of just like, I think you're right.
Well, yeah, because I mean, look, we love these types of events, especially because you get to meet people that you play with in game, right? So like E3, I mean, you nailed it. Like all the other conventions, E3, they could be, oh, we love a bunch of different things, or we love a very specific vertical of video games. Because video games is also a huge... It's like music, right?
Yeah.
And video games is like music. You can say, oh, I'm a video game player, but unless you're like, I like RTSs, I like blah,
exactly.
blah, blah.
Okay, you're a gamer. Does that mean you like RPGs?
Right,
do you
right,
like
right,
MMO?
right.
Do you play Farmville?
Yeah.
Or do you play mobile game? Like, what is your thing? But everyone here speaks the same language. This is it's really kind of its own country.
Well, I think that you nailed it when you said people can hold each other accountable when they come here because that's true. Because you like if you're a jerk online and then you see your guildmates next year, maybe BlizzCon won't be as fun.
And also, I mean, you can tell the level at which people care about this world and the community. I mean, like, BlizzCon has some of the best cosplay. Because it's like this is the kind of cosplay where people are legitimately like mechanics. Like where they actually, because there's such a diversity to the characters, that the palette that they have. There's so many amazing types of cosplay that you really see the care that people put into it. It's pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking on that, actually, when I went to the con before the Storm Party the other night, there was a girl that had been working on her Alex Straza mail armor suit.
I saw that.
Chain mail armor. She had made it for 7 years.
Oh my God.
And in it, she blew smoke out of it. I posted it on Twitter, but it is amazing.
Well,
it was like smoke coming out of her mouth.
Everything. Lighting up the eyes.
Come Monday, a lot of people will start on next year's whatever the cosplay is for next year.
If they're not already.
I can barely get myself together for a Halloween costume. It was literally Saturday when I put together my Halloween costume, and it was an old one. I was Vince Clortho from Ghostbusters.
Keymaster of Gozer. Yeah.
But it was an old one. I did it like 4 or 5 years ago, but the people at the party I went to hadn't seen it. Too much Halloween.
Can I just drop an obnoxious?
Please.
So speaking of Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer.
Yes.
I bought at a recent memorabilia auction the original Dark Helmet from Spaceballs.
Oh my God!
So I have the Dark Helmet.
That is fantastic.
And my friend Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z, is Mel Brooks' son. And he said, hey, if you buy that helmet, I'll get my dad to sign it. I was like, oh, okay. So Mel signed it. And then Rick Moranis had been on the podcast a few years ago. So I reached out to him a couple weeks ago and said, hey, I'm going to be in New York. I have Dark Helmet, and Mel signed it. Would you sign it? And he was like, yeah. So then are you kidding me? He just showed up to my hotel, and he signed my Dark Helmet. We talked for like an hour. And so I'm sorry to drop the name, but just, you know.
No, but that's so
So I have
cool.
I have Dark Helmet. It's on my Instagram feed.
I can't wait to see it now.
Now I'm going to go check that back out.
I was staying at one of these arty New York hotels that had for some reason, like a wardrobe dummy in it. But I just put Dark Helmet on it, and we just stood on either side. It was pretty amazing.
That is fantastic. Well, listen, I know you've got some prep work to do. It's almost time for the show, but thank you so much for coming by.
What if I was like, no, I can stay? What do you want to talk about?
Winston,
I'm the guy
he's right there. He doesn't have his glasses
Where is
on.
Glasses? So he's in a rage.
Yeah, he's mad.
But look, that's rage. That's not rage.
Where's the? Oh, he's got the gotcha.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Here.
Yeah, his glasses here.
I love it.
They should break.
I know. All
right.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
Chris,
for
coming in. And Bregalek, we'll see you in a bit.
Thank you.
Overwatch game director Jeff Kaplan will be joining us shortly, so tweet us your questions for him right now at #BlizzCon.
That's right, and now it's time to head over to the legendary stage where just a short time ago, they started a deep dive into one of the coolest new cinematics that I've seen.
Yeah.
It's Junkertown, the plan, creating a new kind of Overwatch animation. Let's check it out.
Well, that's a fine how do you do. What was it you think got us the boot? Stealing the Queen's cash? Blowing up her Somerset? The beatdown at the bar? What if it was to really take off the big boss this time? I don't think they're gonna let us back in. Well, there's two things that solve everything. Money and explosives. I've got an idea! Boom! Gotta get money, gotta get bumped, gotta get home to I can't wait to see the look on the Queen's face when she sees exactly who double-crossed her. So we're gonna go over the plan one more time, so you don't screw it all up. All right. First, peel off the fuse. Then we put on our inconspicuous disguises and sneak into town. After that, we get our glorious blinged-out boom trolley right up to the boss's place, reveal our ingenious deception, and boom! They'll never see it coming. Oh, right. We need an escape plan. Take two. Inconspicuous, sneaking through town. Front door, reveal our deception. Then, run like hell and boom! It's foolproof. Right! The gold! No point in blowing it up. So, use an inconspicuous trolley. Front door, reveal. Grab the gold! And... Bill? It's showtime! Da, 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 da.
Oh my goodness. Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the third in-game cinematics panel. Junkertown, the plan. The plan. Because it's about making the plan? Yeah. My name is Chris Evans. Yeah. Wait. No, not that Chris Evans. Yeah, no, middle-aged supervisor at Blizzard, not. Like you're expecting a chocolate sundae and you get butterscotch and some sugar free stuff. Make it what you want. All right, before we begin, let's meet the panel. First off, my very good friend, Karen Gregory. Yeah, Karen is one of our in-game project directors. You guys know his work? Some of you? Okay. Does a lot of work on World of Warcraft, directing the in-game content. Next, we have Julie Brom. Yeah. So, Julie's an R&D engineer dedicated to the in-game cinematics department. She heads up development, making the in-game pipeline work with all the